1969. At the end of the season, they had 100 wins and 62 losses. Mets a game up on the Cardinals. They lead Montreal by 5.5, Chicago by 12.5, Philadelphia by 16.5, and Pittsburgh by 33.5 games. Mets have won 8 in a row and 14 of their last 16 and 29 of their last 36. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Mets and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Mets and Sports Channel is prohibited. Announcers on this telecast are selected by Sports Channel and approved by the Mets. And Fran Healy, there is Steve Carlton, a man who has been absent from the scene of baseball for quite some time. On the disabled list with a bad shoulder.
And I believe on the disabled list for the first time in his career.
The umpires for the game tonight: Randy Marsh behind home plate, Charlie Williams at first base, John McSherry, the umpire at second base, and Lanny Harris, the umpire at third base. Game number 110 for the New York Mets. And it will be Rick Aguilera on the mound for the Mets, as you see him there in the dugout.
Well, the Mets really putting together some good pitching. Able to go down to the minor leagues at will and bring up a guy that can win in the major leagues. They have some guys in the minor leagues still that could come up here and win if given the opportunity.
Well, the Mets have Bruce Bereni on the disabled list. He has been throwing. Of course, he had been with the Mets and Cincinnati in the major leagues for quite some time with a very impressive record. Aguilera, taking his place, has won 5 and lost 3 with an earned run average of 2.76. Rick has worked 58 and 2/3 innings. He has given up 49 hits, struck out 31, and has walked just 19. He has given up 2 home runs. His record against Philadelphia: 1 win and no losses. He picked up that win in his major league debut in relief, and that was in Philadelphia. Rick Aguilera on the mound for the Mets.
And Rick taking his warm-up tosses. When he's through, he'll face Juan Samuel, leading off the second baseman for the Phillies. Tom Foley, the shortstop, batting number 2. Mike Schmidt at first base, batting third. Mike Schmidt, power hitter, laid down a perfect bunt in the 9th inning last night. Von Hayes batting cleanup in center field. Right fielder and batting number 5, Glenn Wilson. Damian Dalton will do the catching. He's batting 6th. Batting 7th, John Russell in left field. Third baseman, Rick Shea. Bat 8th, batting 9th, Charles Hudson, the pitcher.
And the defense: Hernandez, Backman, Santana, and Johnson first to third. In the outfield, Foster, Dykstra, Strawberry left to right. And the catcher, Gary Carter. And there it is. Let's go, Mex. And of course, that would be Keith Hernandez, who is affectionately known as Mex on the ball club. There he is at first base, and he has been a strong leader for the Mets this year after going into a hitting slump right after the start of the season. He has his average up over 300. A couple of games played already in the National League. San Francisco defeated Houston 4-2. Kruko, the winning pitcher, he's now 8 and 8. Niekro, the loser, 9 and 9. And Montreal defeated Chicago 4-1. Starting pitcher Scott Sanderson had to leave the ball game. It appears that he will have to go on the disabled list with all the other starters that the Cubs have. Winning pitcher was Hesketh. His record 9 and 5. Reardon picked up a save as he came in the ball game in the 8th inning. So Montreal in winning today, moving to 5.5 games back of the New York Mets. The Mets can move them back to 6 with a victory here tonight. St. Louis Cardinals playing later on at home against the Pittsburgh Pirates.
For the Cardinals and the Mets playing outstanding baseball right now. The Mets obviously playing a little bit better. Tim and I were talking about it last night, Ralph. A team where there's Ryan Darling down there. Looks good, doesn't he? Right out of Yale.
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
talking about the Cardinals and the New York Mets. The Mets, the pursuer, now they're ahead of the Cardinals. Now, Tim and I were discussing it has to be, it could be different sides of the coin. Could be a good feeling for the Cardinals to be playing such great baseball. How about if you were the Cardinals and the Mets have caught you?
Well, I don't know. It's still early in the year yet. Even though we're moving into the middle of August, I don't know if you get that psychologically involved.
You don't think momentum has anything to do with it?
There's no doubt about momentum, but at the same time, you don't really count those games down until you get into, say, September, middle of September. And the first pitch by Aguilera, fastball to Juan Samuel, hitting .254 with 10 home runs and 49 RBIs.
Ralph, the Cardinals, as we were talking about, playing outstanding ball, and they were ahead of the Mets. You figure if you win that many ball games, you can run away from the pack. Yet the Mets they're now 25 games over 500.
And it's an old-fashioned pennant race.
Oh.
And the breaking ball grounded to Santana. Good pickup on a tough hop. The throw to Hernandez. One away.
Well, one of the things the Mets have had going for them all year really is pretty solid defense. This guy right here, an underrated shortstop, he's done a fine job. It's nice to watch Rafael Santana.
That was not an easy chance. That half hop, always the one that everybody dreads. But Santana handled it perfectly. And that brings up Tom Foley. Foley playing shortstop. Yes, he is playing shortstop. Hitting .207 with 1 home run, 9 RBIs. Acquired from the Cincinnati Reds on August the 7th for Bo Diaz. And first pitch of ball.
Looked like last year he was going to run Davey Concepcion over to third base with the Reds. He did, but Concepcion was not happy with the move, so he forced Foley back to the bench.
1 ball, no strikes, and ball 2.
If you were a manager, would you allow somebody to force you into a move?
Well, I don't think you have a whole lot to say about it, Fran. If the manager says go, go.
No, I said if you were the manager, would you let a player force you into a move?
Oh, no. No way. And speaking of that, Cesar Cedeno is asking to be traded away from the Cincinnati Reds. He's not playing. He's unhappy. You know, when it gets down to the fine print, Cedeno's near the end of a career. He might not go anyway.
That's right.
Start making those demands when you're near the end of a career and not doing well. It can be a little drastic. And Foley fouls off the fastball. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, we've talked about free agency in baseball. It's great for some people, but for other people, they probably should be more prudent before they jump into a quick decision, because as you look at Mike Schmidt, if you jump into a decision and you're going to outprice yourself, you're going to have some problems.
Ted Woodens would have liked that. There go the pigeons. He was shooting pigeons in Fenway Park one year. Yeah. He was hitting them, too. They were having trouble trying to get the pigeons out of the ballpark. Ted said he'd take care of that.
He shot them.
He got in trouble with the city, too. 2-2 the count. Well, how about Larry Boa? He was fighting the manager all along. Now he's been given his outright release.
When you hit about 40 home runs a year and hit 300, you can scream and complain. If you're not, you better be careful.
Larry Boa, one of the close friends of Tim McCarver, taught him everything he knew.
That's right.
Speaking of teaching players how to play, Tim McCarver, very close associate of Larry Boa when they were with Philadelphia.
Did they room together at all?
I don't know that.
Okay, we'll have to ask Tim that question later on.
I think he had to room Larry by himself. 2-2 the count. Tom Foley, a man who played football. And he played football left-handed. Passed the ball with his left hand or left arm, whatever you want to call it. And now a right-handed thrower in baseball. Hitting .231 against the Mets this year with 3 hits and 13 times up, all with the Cincinnati Reds. 3-2 pitch, and it's fouled back out of play.
There have been some ball players that would throw with both hands, both arms. I'll tell you, one guy that comes to mind used to take third base and infield, and in the first infield in Kansas City, then go over and take the second infield at first base left-handed, George Brett. And I mean, he threw the ball pretty well left-handed.
Cal McClish could throw very well left-handed, but did not pitch that way. He pitched right-handed, never did pitch from the left-hand side. Lee Mazzilli, of course, when he was signed by the Mets, who left him right-handed. Not well with either one.
I was going to say, poor Lee.
And a base hit right there through the hole in the right field, the first hit of the ball game. So a man on with 1 man out as we get underway here at Shea Stadium. 4-game series for the Philadelphia Phillies.
And here's Tom Foley picking up that base hit off of Rick Aguilera. Ball was down. He just went down and slapped the ball in the hole.
So with Foley on at first base, the batter will be Mike Schmidt. Mike hitting .254.
Speaking of Foley, last night we made a statement about Red Foley that's been contested by a few people. We mentioned how Red might have seen more baseball games than anybody, but I ran into Stan Isaacs before the ball game. He brought to my attention 2 other guys come to mind. One is at the ballpark tonight, Jack Lang. I also ran into Jack, and his children are going to beat Ralph Kiner up.
Well, they're taken out of context. There's a breaking ball missed by Mike Schmidt. We were talking about going to like 3 games a day. Red would do that many times. And of course, Jack Lang, who personally let me know that he had seen more ball games.
He did. When he was standing on your chest, did you get the message?
Jack said that Foley would have to go to 3 games a day for 10 more years to catch up with Jack Lang, who started covering baseball in 1946. And Hernandez over there makes the play. And Mike Schmidt, the dangerous Mike Schmidt, is out. Mike with 19 home runs and 57 RBIs.
Always a big out when you can get Mike Schmidt. Here it is again. Mike Schmidt not taking that real good Mike Schmidt swing. Pops the ball up. Now Hernandez got over there, found where he was, and just caught the ball. A lot of people taking the time would find that a major problem because they'd be so close to the dugout. By the way, one other writer came to Stan Isaac's mind. Of course, he doesn't see as many ball games now as he used to. Although I better not say, he'll come out here punching us. Dick Young has seen a lot of ball games over the years.
And Dick Young started covering baseball in 1946 in the National League. Now the batter will be Von Hayes, who took the Mets apart one day a few days back. Hayes with 2 home runs in 1 inning, won a grand slammer. And he became the first man in baseball to hit 2 home runs in 1 inning, the first inning in baseball history.
It was an exciting ball game when we were in Philadelphia, if you were a Phillies fan.
That was a game that the Phillies scored 26 runs. The Mets didn't come close.
No.
They had only 7. Von Hayes, the batter, with a runner at first base, 2 men away. And the fastball just misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. Von Hayes hitting .324 against the Mets. And he has had 1 other home run outside of those 2 home runs in the first inning against the Mets on that day in June. There's Davey Johnson, manager of the Mets. He uses, there goes the pitch back to the plate, computers to help him make his decisions. 2-1 to count to Von Hayes.
And I think at times he'll put the computer aside and make a decision from his stomach.
The computer and stomach probably make more decisions.
Yeah, that's right.
Stomach more so than the computer or even the brain. Get that gut feeling.
That's right. And if you make a mistake and it costs you a ball game, the computer will not have a bad stomach, but the manager will. There's no doubt about it.
The computer doesn't need any of those antacids. Huh?
That's right. He doesn't care. He's 9 to 5.
Well, what goes into that computer is what counts. It's got to be fed something or it doesn't work. Pitch back, and it is just low, and the count goes to 3-2. So the runner at first base, Tom Foley, will be running with a pitch as Rick Aguilera works to the Philadelphia Phillies. Rick with a lifetime record of 5-3. His first year in the majors this year. At Tidewater, he was 6-4. Runner goes, and the ball is swung on and missed, and Aguilera with a breaking ball picks up his first strikeout. That ends the inning. 1 hit and 1 man left on base to score. At the end of 1/2 inning, the Phillies nothing, the Mets coming up. Well, Charles Hudson, the pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies, he does not want to be called Charlie. Charles with a record of 5-10. He is a Woolworth pitcher. Earned run average at 3.93.
A Woolworth pitcher.
5-10.
I like that. A Woolworth pitcher.
Charles Hudson, born in Ennis, Texas, just outside of Dallas, and he has worked 123 2/3 innings. He has given up 118 hits, struck out 82, and he has walked 41. And Hudson with a record of 1-1 against the Mets.
And he'll face Lenny Dykstra leading off, the Mets center fielder, batting number 2, Wally Backman. Keith Hernandez batting 3rd. Gary Carter, the cleanup hitter. Darryl Strawberry in right field, batting number 5. And left fielder batting 6th, George Foster. Batting 7th at 3rd base, Howard Johnson. Batting 8th, the shortstop, Rafael Santana. And Rick Aguilera doing the pitching and batting 9th.
And the defense for Charles Hudson: Schmidt, Samuel, Foley, and Shue from 1st to 3rd. Russell, Hayes, and Wilson left to right. And Carlton will be doing the catching.
Well, it's amazing when you call this guy Charles. I know his mother wants him to be referred to as Charles. All I can think of is prep school, when everybody was referred to in kind of a formal manner.
None of that cutesy stuff.
No obscene gestures or language or anything like that.
He called Tim McCarver Timmy. He doesn't like it.
Timothy.
But he did say he's been called worse. He'll settle for anything. And here is Len Dykstra to lead off. Dykstra with a .322 on-base percentage as leadoff batter for the Mets, hitting at .247 as a batting average. 1 home run, 15 RBIs. He has 11 stolen bases out of 12 attempts. Filling in for Mookie Wilson and doing an outstanding job. And the fastball a strike.
When we say the Mets have a couple other center fielders in the minor leagues that are outstanding, one is their first draft pick from last year, Sean Abner.
Descended from Mr. Doubleday, right?
That's right.
1 ball, 1 strike. And the curveball hangs high. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Dykstra hitting .333 against the Phillies, but only 1 hit in 3 times up. This is the first time he's seen the Philadelphia Phillies, having come up after the Mets had played the Phillies a couple of times. And that is ball 3 in the count, 3-1. Dykstra will really try to walk to get on base. He's outstanding in that department.
They've really helped his ball because those first 2 hitters in the lineup getting on base.
Has a small strike zone. Now he fakes like he's going to bunt and gets that ball 4, and Dykstra does it again. So the leadoff batter for the Mets on first base. And it will bring up the red-hot Wally Backman. Wally has 11-game hitting streak. He's batted .449 through those 11 ball games. He has raised his average to .302. 1 home run and 26 runs batted in. Wally in that Big Ten of hitting.
And it's come from a lot of work. In fact, yesterday about 3 o'clock here at the ballpark, I looked down in the field. Wally Backman is practicing dragging bunts with Bud Harrelson throwing to him, and he did it in the game last night and was successful.
On base hit, later on scored a run, and he goes after a high fastball. Backman is batting a cool .517 against the Phillies this year. 15 base hits and 29 at bats. 3 hits in last night's ball game. Charles Hudson pitching for the Philadelphia Phillies. And the fastball fouled back, strike 2. On deck batter for the Mets, Keith Hernandez. He's been red hot. Mets as a team hitting .252. At one point they were hitting around .220. They've had 87 home runs, 83 stolen bases. That's all happened since July 1st. 2-strike pitch has popped up. Center fielder Von Hayes under the ball, and he makes the catch, and Dykstra back to first. So 1 away. And it brings up Keith Hernandez, player of the month of July. Keith now hitting .301 in the top 10 hitters. 8 home runs, 69 runs batted in. He has been unbelievable. In his last 36 games, he's hit .393 with 30 runs scored, 1 home run, 31 runs batted in. Over that period, he hit .489 with runners at second and third, or second, or third, and his on-base average .460 throughout those 36 games. Well, I'm getting ready for a beach party. And Hernandez takes a fastball.
When Hernandez was in the depths of his slump, Charles Hudson, we talked about this on a pregame show with Keith Hernandez, Charles Hudson made a statement that even though he's in a slump, he's the toughest hitter in the National League to pitch against.
He sure is among them. There's no doubt about that. Over the years, he's been that way. Toss over to first base. And a balk called on Hudson. That is the 3rd balk he has made this year. So a walk and a balk, and the Mets with a runner at second base.
Well, the way the Mets are playing, if you're the opposition, you don't want to give them any opportunities.
One ball, no strikes. The count to Keith Hernandez, who leads the National League in game-winning RBIs with 19. And the strike call, it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Keith holds a record for game-winning RBIs in the National League. He and Jack Clark hold the record.
Well, Jack Clark has been a great acquisition for the Cardinals.
21 each in one season. American League record set in 1983. Harold Baines had 22. See what this movement is on the balk call.
They mentioned his front leg. Well, you know what? He didn't step. What it was a spin move, and the home plate umpire, Randy Marsh, mentioned to Hudson after he called the block his front leg. He didn't pick it off the ground. He just spun around.
Didn't get the back foot off the pitching rubber, which you have to do with that move.
Well, the thing also is they're not consistent in calling that spin move.
Boy, isn't that the truth. And a strike call, and the count goes to 2-2. Hernandez didn't like that call.
If you're going to call it spin move, you have to call it all the time. You can take a look at that pitch again. Looks like a good pitcher's pitch right there.
Borderline pitch, called a strike, and it's a 2-2 count. Tell you one thing, Keith wants all he can get. He is a battler. On deck batter Gary Carter. And a ground ball to the shortstop, and Dykstra in trouble. The throw to third, and he's out. So Dykstra makes a base running mistake, cutting over in front of the ball hit to the shortstop, and an easy out at third base.
Well, Lenny Dykstra guilty of too much aggressiveness right here, being cut down on a bad base running move. Of course, you're told time and time again, if the ball's hit to your left, you move. If it's hit to your right, you go back to second base. Here it's hit to Lenny Dykstra's right, and Foley makes a throw to third base, and a good one.
Well, if you're going to make mistakes, you like them to be aggressive mistakes.
That's right.
That was definitely a base running mistake, and now runner taken out of scoring position as Hernandez is on first base in the fielder's choice, and Gary Carter the batter. And the fastball for ball one. Carter hitting .268 with 16 home runs and 59 RBIs. No score, just underway here at Shea. Another fine crowd on hand. And Carter takes for ball two, 2-0. Carter hitting .378 against Philadelphia Philly pitching this year with 2 home runs and 8 runs batted in. And this one deep to left center field. It is way back, going, and caught. So Von Hayes hauls it in on the warning track in front of the 386 mark, and Hudson is out of it. No runs and 1 man left on base. The score at the end of 1. The Phillies nothing and the Mets nothing. Top of the second inning, no score. The Phillies and Mets in the second game of this 4-game series. Plenty of seats available for tomorrow night's ball game. Box seats, reserve seats, and general admission. And then Thursday, the final game with the Phillies and the final game of the homestand, as Dwight Gooden will be going for the Mets against Jerry Kuzman. That will be a Thursday afternoon ball game. Senior Citizens Day here at Shea. All you senior citizens, 65 years of age and older, admitted to the ballpark for a 75-cent service charge. Tomorrow night, it'll be Ron Darling on the mound against Kevin Gross. And for Philadelphia, Glenn Wilson, the batter. Wilson hitting .265 with 10 home runs and 73 runs batted in, and he has just torn the Mets apart this year.
This guy's a good player. He's done a fine job defensively also. He made a tremendous throw last night. Cut George Foster down at third base.
Of course, George had stopped at second before that happened.
It was still a great throw. You will.
Outstanding.
Yeah, you'll applaud that arm.
And he has had 5 home runs and 18 runs batted in against the Mets this year while hitting .361. Got the big hit in last night's ball game for the Phillies. Got him close. A 3-run home run in the 9th inning.
Who was the best throwing outfielder you've ever seen? I mean, for accuracy and throwing guys out. Not
I'd
just
say Carl Furillo.
He was, huh?
1 strike to count, and that is ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. DiMaggio had a great arm. So did Roger Maris.
Best I've ever played with for throwing guys out. We used to put him in on defense before he became an everyday player in Kansas City. Al Collins.
Never signed play.
Yeah, he's with the Seattle Mariners now. He almost won the MVP in the American League one year, but I'm going to tell you, Ralph, we used to put him in like in the 8th or 9th inning, and inevitably, he would throw somebody out trying to score. It was unbelievable.
1-2, the count to Glenn Wilson. And the curveball, he goes after it. Carter finds it, and he'll have to complete the strikeout with a throw to first base, and does. 2 in a row for Aguilera.
Well, Aguilera right there getting Wilson to chase that bad breaking ball.
I'll tell you who had a great throwing arm was Bob Kennedy.
Yeah, I heard about him, and it's interesting to watch his son, because his son, who's a fine catcher with the San Diego Padres and a good offensive player, if he has one shortcoming, it's his throwing arm.
Now, the genes didn't work in his case.
No.
He's also a better hitter than his dad.
Oh, he is.
Now it's Darren Dalton, the catcher, and he takes strike 1.
In fact, Bob Kennedy now an assistant to Al Rosen with the Houston Astros.
Dalton hitting .200, brought up from the minor leagues. He started the season with the Phillies, then went down. You know who could throw well? Vince DiMaggio. Probably better than Joe.
Is that right?
He had a great arm. And Dominic DiMaggio also threw well.
They have a guy in Boston in right field who's thrown well over the years, Dwight Evans.
1 ball, 1 strike. Aguilera gets a fastball in the strike zone. It's popped up. Wally Backman. So 2 men away. Wally kind of yelling for his life out there. He anticipated Strawberry climbing all over his back.
Talking about good throwing arms, this kid in right field for the Mets can throw the ball as hard as anybody.
Rocky Colavito, how about that?
Oh, yeah, great arm. Great throwing arm.
One time in San Diego when he was down in the minors, when I was the general manager down there, we had a contest to see how far he could throw it, and he threw it over the center field fence 423 feet away.
Wow.
And the curveball for ball 1. John Russell, the batter.
The Rock was born and brought up in New York.
Russell hitting .228 with 5 home runs, 16 RBIs. And he misses the fastball. Russell hit his first major league home run as a pinch hitter against the Mets and Ron Darling. John Felsky, the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, his first year. And the slider popped into shallow right field. Strawberry coming hard. He'll get there, and he makes the play. So Strawberry completes a 1-2-3 inning for Aguilera, and the score at the end of 1.5. The Phillies nothing, the Mets nothing.
Well, this week, Sports Channel's got coverage of the Canadian Tennis Open from Jerry Park in Montreal, with over $250,000 in prize money and a field including Jimmy Connors, Yvonne Lindell, and John McEnroe. It's sure to be a winner. Coverage continues tonight at 11:30. The Canadian Tennis Open right here on Sports Channel.
Parc Jerry, where they used to play baseball in Montreal before they built the Big O. Darryl Strawberry to lead off for the Mets. Darryl has been hot in his last 34 games, a .328 average, 10 home runs, 32 RBIs. And he has raised his average to .267 with a total of 14 home runs and 44 RBIs. And the first pitch out of the strike zone. Strawberry with that, he's doing it more and more, and I think it will really help him, picking up that front leg and sort of laying it back, a la Mel Ott. Not as much as Mel Ott used to do it, but he does pick it up now.
And a gentleman I interviewed the other day in Japan, Sadahara O.
Picked it up and set it down. Watch this front leg now. He kind of picks it up and lays it back. That keeps you back on your back foot and keeps you where you can hit. Didn't do it as much that time. In batting practice, he really emphasizes it.
You know, Ralph, I asked O the other day about that particular thing, kicking that leg up in the air, and I said, did anybody ever try to change it? And he said, yes, when I first started. But do you know, a lot of guys over there are doing that now?
Well, it really is good. It keeps you from lunging into the ball, and of course Darryl has that problem at times.
I'm surprised you really can't change up on a guy that kicks that leg up like that.
They used to try it on Mel Ott, and it never worked.
No, obviously.
Find it in right field in the Polo Grounds. And it's ball 4, so Strawberry works out a walk.
Nobody hits the ball any harder than Darryl Strawberry. Nobody.
Nobody?
Nobody.
Dave Kingman?
Nobody. That ball jumps off this kid's bat, and he's still a baby. Kingman might hit it further, but those singles, I mean, even singles off of Strawberry's bat explode.
Yeah, you're right. He is just a baby. There's no doubt about it. Kingman now with over 400 home runs. He just got 400.
He hit his 400th the other day in Seattle. They said he ran around the bases like nothing happened.
You know what he said? He was quoted as saying anyway. Of course, you can be misquoted that he's now set all of his goals. He doesn't have any more goals.
Oh, gee,
he's happy now. That's surprising, isn't it?
Yeah.
He wanted to have 400 home runs. Now he doesn't care about 500.
You know, that's too bad because I'd have to say it's the greats, the guys that have done it day in and day out over the years and are in the Hall of Fame, cared till that last day they played. One of your biggest disappointments had to be that
having to quit.
Yeah, the bad back. That had to be a tremendous disappointment to somebody that excelled like you and wanted to break all kinds of records.
And it's foul back as Foster goes after the fastball.
I think that separates, Ralph. I think that separates the greats. I think the greats find a way, and I think the guys that really aren't able to achieve that greatness in the professional sport have the ability. They just find an excuse rather than a way. There's a guy that has found a way, and he's only 2 years in the major leagues. He's only 20 years old. Dwight Gooden.
He is something else, isn't he? Me worry?
That's how you think he's concerned, isn't he?
Watermelon seeds. He's probably got more on those watermelon seeds than some of the guys that pitch. And the runner going with a pitch, but the ball fouled back, and it will be out of play. So Strawberry running with a pitch back to first base. Darryl with 17 stolen bases out of 23 attempts. And Foster hitting with a batting average of .260. He leads the club in home runs with 17, and he has 59 RBIs. 2 strikes to count to George Foster. Well, Tom Seaver with 300 victories hasn't stopped.
He said he wants to win. That's the thing that drives him on. I heard Pete Rose say the same thing. He wants to win.
Fastball for ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pride of performance is the answer, no matter what. And it's foul tip, so the count stays at 1-2.
There's no doubt about it. Anybody that gets into the major leagues has ability. You have to have ability to play in the major leagues.
Here's the on-deck batter, Howard Johnson. But then something else separates the ability to succeed from just having ability.
That's right. Sometimes it's a break, but on the whole, it's a guy that just wants to excel, like wanting to bat with a runner on third base and 2 outs. Some guys don't want to hit in that situation. Therefore, they're not going to drive in a lot of RBIs, but the greats, they want to hit in a situation like that.
Strawberry at first base, and it's in the dirt and missed. And on the strikeout, Strawberry goes down to second base. With nobody out or 1 out and the ball not caught by the catcher on a swing, you cannot run to first.
Here it is here. Wild pitch, obviously, if the ball hits the ground, and Dalton tried to scoop the ball, but to no avail.
You cannot run to first with first base occupied, so Foster did not have a chance to run, and Strawberry did. So again, the Mets have a runner at second base in this ball game. 1 man away, and the batter will be Howard Johnson, who struck out 3 times in his 3 appearances last night. Hudson picking up his first strikeout with that strikeout of George Foster. And it's hit high in the air to right field. Strawberry tagged up at second base. As we mentioned, Wilson with a great arm, and he guns it to third on 1 hop. It was way off line, but nobody's taking any chances with that arm.
Yeah, especially after last night. A good arm in the outfield has become a deterrent. You won't see that many guys thrown out. Here's the case where Glenn Wilson threw the ball off line, but with a lot of velocity. And velocity will scare a third base coach. It's just a deterrent. You don't see that many guys thrown out, although this guy has, what, about 14 assists this year.
He has a ton of assists. So 2 men away now, and the batter will be Rafael Santana, who has a modest 5-game hitting streak, hitting .260 with 1 home run, 22 RBIs. breaking ball, a called strike. Over the 5 games, hitting .429. Strike 2.
Well, the guy Santana replaced today, Hubie Brooks, against the Cubs this afternoon, had 2 triples. Santana doing an outstanding job here in New York. So a break really for Santana when Hubie Brooks was traded, because they were assuming that they would try Hubie Brooks at shortstop.
Runner going with a pitch, and it swung on and missed. Strike 3. And why Strawberry was stealing third with 2 men out is amazing to me. But anyway, it didn't make any difference as a strikeout ends the inning. 1 walk and 1 man left on, and the score at the end of 2. It is the Phillies nothing and the Mets nothing. Another good crowd in hand as we go to the top of the 3rd. No score in the game.
And tomorrow night, game 3 of this 4-game set. And then Thursday afternoon, Phillies and the Mets right here at Shea Stadium.
And good seats available for both of those dates.
Good seats, good hot dogs, good music.
Rick Aguilera taking his warm-up pitches. He'll be working to Rick Shea, then the pitcher Charles Hudson, and back to the top of the batting order and Juan Samuel.
Well, we got a quiz right here. Name the Phillies player whom Tim McCarver passed at first base when he hit his infamous grand slam single. That's embarrassing, isn't it?
That sounds like Billy Webb's doing.
It is. I'll tell you. That's embarrassing to embarrass the poor guy like that.
Hit it out of the ballpark with the bases loaded and got 3 runs batted in on a single as he passed the runner who was on first base.
We'll give you the answer.
Quiz, huh?
Yeah, we'll give you the answer next inning, I believe.
That could be disastrous. They start getting into our background.
That's right. Right.
Rick Shea, the batter. Rick hitting .272. Number is rhyming with his name as he swings and misses. Strike 1. Shea with 3 home runs, 12 RBIs. Batting .333 against the Mets with 7 base hits. 1 ball, 1 strike. Just think, Tim. Well, we won't get. Let's leave Tim alone.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. One time. You can say it.
I mean, here's a guy that played in 4 decades of baseball and is going to be remembered for a 3-run single.
That is embarrassing, huh? Would you be embarrassed if you did that?
Yeah, I'd be embarrassed. I'd also be mad, too.
Yes.
I'd be mad at the base runner.
Yeah, I'd be mad at the base runner.
I mean, after all, when you hit a ball out of the ballpark, you're not looking for the base runner to be coming back towards you.
That is funny, really. I'm surprised he didn't punch him.
I mean, he might have. 1-2 the count. And the slider hit hard to left field. Foster easing back. And Shea is out on the line drive to George Foster. And the answer to our baseball quiz.
Well, you got to give the quiz one more time. Name the Phillies player whom Tim McCarver passed at first base when he hit his infamous grand slam single. The player is, can you believe that? Let me read this again. Gary Maddox. Gary Maddox. Can you believe it? Name the Phillies player whom Tim McCarver passed at first base when he hit his infamous grand slam single.
There he is, Gary Maddox.
Gary Maddox.
We're talking about you, Gary. He's denying it right now.
There's Charles.
Well, you know it wasn't because Tim ran by him and he's run so fast he ran by
That's right. No, Tim would not catch him. Although they did say Tim ran well. He did run. He ran very good.
One year he led the league in triples.
That's pretty good record for a catcher.
Not bad. Here is Charles Hudson to bat.
You know, speaking of triples, this year, Willie McGee has a number of triples. About, what is it? He has 14 triples. It's a lot of triples.
He has 5 more than Vince Coleman, his teammate, who has 9. Tim Raines has 9. Samuel has a total of 8.
And Dan Gladden has 6. You notice there's nobody in that group that can't run.
They can all fly, can't they? One strike to count to Hudson, who has had just 3 hits this year and 32 at-bats. No score, 1 man out, top of the 3rd. Hudson, an idea about bunting, fouls it off. Hudson started the season as a relief pitcher. They thought that experiment would work. Tried it for quite some time, then switched him back to a starter. Rick Aguilera working with a count of 1-2, 1 man out. Slider and a broken bat ground ball. 2 men away. So Hudson back to the bench, and the batter will be Juan Samuel, batting for the 2nd time. Samuel 0 for 4 in yesterday's ball game. Batting .286 against the Mets with 2 home runs.
This guy's a real good fastball hitter.
And the slider for a ball. Samuel was runner-up to Dwight Gooden as Rookie of the Year.
He's probably a little steadier this year. He has 17 RBIs in his last 23 ball games. He's been steadier in the field also.
And it's fouled back out of play.
If you look at this kid, you think of like a wild horse that just needs, you got to calm him down a little bit. He's got some tremendous talent.
One of the things that's sort of a paradox, he's a leadoff batter with this batting order and has been all year, and he strikes out a tremendous amount. He has struck out 104 times.
I think he'd strike out even more if he was in a different slot. He'll see more fastballs in this slot.
You're the believer in the Bobby Bonds theory, huh?
Oh, yeah, Bobby Bonds, I'll tell you, they tried him in the 3rd and 4th, 5th slot. He couldn't do it. But he was a great leadoff man. He had a lot of home runs off of fastballs his first time up.
He had more home runs as a leadoff batter than anybody in the National League history. Hard ground ball to Samuel. And the Phillies go in order. 8 in a row for Rick Aguilera, and the score at the end of 2.5 innings, the Phillies nothing, the Mets nothing.
Well, Sunday, August 25th is a swing line back-to-school day at Shea when the Mets and the Padres meet at 1:35. All fans 15 and under will receive a flexible 3-ring binder from the Mets and Single Line, the #1 stapling company in the world. As an added bonus, fans 15 and under will receive an 8x10 1985 Mets team picture, courtesy of All Channel Satellite of Queens, who sell and install satellite receivers. That's back to school day, Sunday afternoon, the Mets and the Padres at Shea. 3-ring binders to all fans 15 and under from Swing Line.
And fans, the revised edition of the Mets 1985 yearbook can be purchased through the mail by sending a check or money order for $5 payable to the Mets to Promotion Graphics, Department M, 160 Varick Street, New York, 113. The yearbook is 112 pages of full-color photographs of your favorite Mets and includes a special 16-page feature, The History of New York National League Championship Teams. Get your 1985 Mets yearbook today by sending a check or money order for $5 payable to the Mets to Promotion Graphics, Department M, 160 Varick Street, New York, 113. Well, we're going to the bottom half of the 3rd inning. No score in the ball game. The Phillies have the only base hit. And for the Mets, it'll be Rick Aguilera, the leadoff. Good, healthy baseball fan there.
Yes, he is.
Aguilera has had 6 hits and 18 times up. That's a .333 batting average, and in his last ball game, he ignited a 5-run inning when in a bunting situation he switched to hit away and he doubled. That set it up for the Mets to score 5 runs and for Aguilera to come on and win a ball game. It was his 5th win of the year. Aguilera good hitting pitcher. In the minor leagues, the Mets pitchers bat when they play National League teams. Of course, the opposition pitchers also bat, but when they play American League teams, they have to use the DH. And in the International League, where Tidewater, the #1 Met fan club, Met farm club is, there are only 2 National League teams. Teams that are minor league teams of National League Major League teams. And a good slider there for strike 2. Charles Hudson with a record of 5-10. Goes to the breaking ball again, but misses, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Looking at stats, and they certainly show something. Maybe not all. Another base hit for Rick Aguilera. He ripped that fastball. And Aguilera gets the Mets' first base hit of this ball game and his 7th in his Major League career.
Boy, he swings the bat very well. Here's a good rip. He looks like an everyday player the way he hit that ball. That ball jumped off Aguilera's bat.
So Aguilera with a base hit, and the batter will be Len Dykstra. Finishing out what I was saying, a stat that really shows up on the Philadelphia Phillies. They have played 21 games on grass this year, and they have won only 2. And this ball out into left center. Von Hayes a quick jump, and he is right there. Aguilera back to first after the catch.
You know, you wonder when you see a stat like that, if there's any truth to a stat like that, it would hold true throughout the league. It's almost like a tennis player saying he can only play on a hard surface and not that clay stuff.
And that is a true.
Yeah, in tennis it is, right. I wonder why the Phillies are having so much of a problem on grass. Maybe it's those one-run ball games that are killing them also.
Oh, they're really tough in run ball games.
They've lost 29.
They have played a total of 45 run ball games, and they have lost 29 of them. The Mets in one-run ball games have won 25 and lost 21. 1 strike to count to Wally Backman. Backman flied out to center field his first time up. Ground ball by the third baseman. A base hit for Wally Backman, and he extends his hitting streak. Aguilera down to second base, and Wally now has hit in 12 consecutive ball games.
And Rick Shea was a few feet in on the grass, and Wally Backman taking that pitch away and slapping it right by Rick Shea. Another angle. Boom, and watch Rick Shea's playing in the third base and way up in the grass. If he was back, he'd have a better shot at that ball.
Well, the bunt base hits make that third baseman play in, and Wally had one last night, and he got him in, slapped it by him. That brings up Keith Hernandez. Keith grounded into a fielder's choice his first time up. With Dykstra on at second base, he grounded the ball to the shortstop, and Dykstra made a base running mistake trying to go to third and was thrown out. Runners at first and second with Hernandez batting, 1 man out, bottom half of the third inning. So far, no score. You're watching Sports Channel live from Shea Stadium. No score in the ball game. Bottom of the third inning. Ralph Kiner along with Fran Healy and Tim McCarver. And Tim will be in here for his say when we go to the top of the fourth inning. 1 strike to count to Keith Hernandez. Keith hitting .301 for the Mets, and he is not the leading batter for the Mets. Wally Backman passed him. Started today's action at .302 and has raised his average with that base hit. Line drive, but foul.
Keith Hernandez can go out and get that ball, hit the ball with authority to left. He can hold the inside pitch. See all that practice with his father?
Father, a minor league ball player and an outstanding ball player. Keith's dad watches the Mets games. He has a dish, and whenever he sees something that Keith is doing that he thinks is wrong, he calls up Keith and says, "Hey, do what I told you."
Yeah, he did a good job with Keith, didn't he?
2 strikes to count on Hernandez. Broken bat, ground ball to the first base side. Schmidt shovels off to Hudson covering for the out, and the runners move up. Aguilera to third base and Backman to second.
Well, we'll see what Gary Carter does here as you look at Keith Hernandez going into the Met dugout. This is one of those times where your real good hitters like a Carter comes through.
So runners in scoring position with 2 men out, and Gary Carter the batter. Carter flied out to center field his first time up. Carter has driven in 18 runs in his last 14 ball games. Overall, he has 59 RBIs with 16 home runs. And the curveball for ball 1. Carter hitting .378 against Philly pitching.
Yeah, you really can't pitch around this guy because you have to face Strawberry.
Fastball, a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike as Charles Hudson works here in the jam with 2 men out, bottom half of the third. So far, no score.
There's not a stronger middle of a lineup than the Mets have.
Oh, good breaking ball. 1 and 2. So now Carter in the hole. There is Darryl Strawberry on deck.
What do you throw him, Ralphie? You try that breaking ball again?
I had to make him go after a bad curve.
All right.
And the 1-2 pitch. He got the bad curve. It's blooped into shallow center, and Samuel back to get it. That retires the side. 2 hits, 2 left, and the score at the end of 3. The Phillies nothing, the New York Mets nothing.
Well, Friday at 7:30, the Mets are off to Pittsburgh for a duel with Chuck Tanner's Pirates. Don't miss a minute of the action as Hernandez, Strawberry, and the rest of the Mets battle their way toward the pennant. Mets baseball right here on Sports Channel. All right, now on Sports Channel, the Mets and the Phillies. Game 2 of this 4-game set tomorrow night. Plenty of seats still available here at Shea for the 3rd game, and then the finale on Thursday afternoon. And the crowd here at Shea Stadium tonight, we have a 0-0 ball game, top of the 4th inning. 2 hits for the Mets, 1 for the Phillies. It'll be Tom Foley, Mike Schmidt, and then Von Hayes. And now in the booth, Tim McCarver. Everything all right, Mr. McCarver?
Oh, yes.
Did you notice the quiz?
Yes, I did.
All right. And Gary Maddox was the runner, but you passed at first base.
That's right.
As you look at Tom Foley, a lot of people would like to have hit a grand slam and had the opportunity to run by the guy.
No, they wouldn't.
No, you don't think?
No. Nobody would like to hit a grand slam and run by a runner. No. I did it in that uniform number.
Did you? Number 11.
EO11.
What did Maddox say to you as you passed him?
He didn't say anything when I passed him. I looked up at Ed Vargo, the second base umpire, and I said, I didn't pass him. He lapped me. I went back to the dugout and sat next to Gary, and Gary looked up and he said, you'll never forget me, will you? I said, nope.
Ed Foley fouls the ball off down the left field line.
The interesting thing about when something like that happens is the handshakes that your teammates give you. They don't know whether to shake your hand for hitting one out or not to shake your hand for being so dumb to run by a runner. So they kind of give you a dead fish and laugh and joke and turn their back on you. And Danny Ozark, the manager, it's better than popping up now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Of course, if I'd have popped it up, I wouldn't have to live that down the last 10 years.
And a ball foul out of play, 0-2. Rick Aguilera throwing the ball very well tonight for the Mets.
Phillies have only 1 hit in the 5 innings that Aguilera has worked against Philadelphia, and there he is.
Foley, by the way, acquired from the Cincinnati Reds.
Aguilera worked 2 innings against the Phillies over in Philadelphia for his for his first win of his major league career, is his first major league appearance. No hits in 2 innings, and he's worked 3 innings tonight and given up only 1 hit.
And once again, throwing the ball very well.
Well, he really comes at you. There's Juan Samuel.
And a ground ball to second base. Backman to Hernandez. Score at 4-3. 1 down. And with 1 man down, the batter will be Mike Schmidt, who popped to first base his first time up. Last night, laid down a beautiful bunt in the 9th inning, catching everybody all together by surprise. Talked about his athletic ability yesterday. He does a lot of things very well. And a look at the defense from Mike Schmidt. Safe to say they're playing him to pulp. There's a fastball out over the plate. Ball 1.
Schmidt is not noted to hit ground balls the other way. He will go the other way with line drives and long fly balls. He gets a lot of his home runs to right field. Awfully, awfully strong.
And he hits a rope into left field. Base hit. So Mike Schmidt with 1 man down here in the top of the 4th, picking up a base hit, and the Phillies' second hit of the ball game.
Center fielder,
Slider up in the strike zone a little bit. But with Mike Schmidt, you're in one respect glad that he kept the ball in the ballpark. 444 home runs, and I called his first one.
Did you?
Back in 1972. Baylor Moore was pitching. Mike Schmidt's first home run, a fastball up and in. Had 443 since then.
And Von Hayes, the batter, he just took a ball from Aguilera. You know, we talk about Mike Schmidt's power. Dale Murphy leads the league with 30 home runs. 12 of his home runs have been to the opposite field. As Von Hayes takes down low, 2-0. Dale Murphy, of course, got off to a tremendous start in the month of April and then slowed down a bit. Looks like he's picking up the pace again. Talking about home runs, how about Carlton Fisk? 30 home runs for the Chicago White Sox, leading the league. Von Hayes pops the ball foul. 2-1.
Hayes came over to the Phillies a couple of years back in that 5-for-1 trade. Julio Franco, the shortstop of the Indians now. George Vukovich, pitcher Jay Baller, Jerry Willard, a catcher, and Manny Trio in that trade.
Trio now with the San Francisco Giants. He couldn't wait to get out of Cleveland.
He had a shortstop in Montreal there for a while. He went over to Montreal in the latter part of the '83 season and then signed with the Giants as a free agent.
He demanded that move, going from Cleveland to Montreal. They traded him to Cleveland. His first response was, trade me. And there's a line drive in the right field. Darryl Strawberry playing the ball in a hop and getting the ball in a hurry. Schmidt holding on at second base. And Von Hayes on at first with the 3rd hit of the game for the Phillies. So we have 1 man down here in the top of the 4th. Runners on first and second. And the batter, a guy who hit a home run in last night's ball game, Glenn Wilson. Wilson tonight struck, checked that. Yes, he did. He struck out his first time up.
Glenn with 73 RBIs on the season, 5th in the National League. And if you can believe it, he had 50 RBIs at home. And 18 of those 73 RBIs have come against the Mets.
So he's happy to play against the Mets, at least this year. Good breaking ball right there. Snapping of the slider away from Wilson. And no balls and 1 strike. Wilson started wearing glasses for the first time this year. The breaking ball outside, 1-1. I remember many moons ago where scouts kind of shied away from players that wore glasses, and then Yogi Berra started wearing them as a catcher. There's quite a plateau reached in baseball. Swung on and missed. 1-2. I'll never forget in a team meeting in Kansas City one time, a coach was talking about a player who wore glasses. So pitch him down, they say a guy who wears glasses can't see the ball down low. He was wrong. 1-2. Swung and a miss. Strike 3. 2 outs.
Now Rick gets away with one right here. This is a hanger. But because of that downward motion, he gets Glenn Wilson. A lot of people think that hangers are only thrown up. Hangers are down too, and also they're good breaking ball pitches that are thrown up if they have the proper action, and that was one of them. The ball really bit down, but technically it was a high breaking ball.
And a batter now, young catcher Darren Dalton. He popped to second base his first time up there. The runners leading off the bases with 2 men out here in the top of the 4th. And there's a strike on the black. 0-1. It's Dalton's first full major league season. Left-handed swinging catcher. Down low, 1-1. Darren Dalton. Ozzie Virgil does the catching for the Philadelphia Phillies. In fact, Ozzie Virgil having a fine year with the Phillies. And he takes ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. Dalton spent some time in Portland this year. The backup catcher really for Ozzie Virgil most of the year was just traded away. Bo Diaz, of course, was the starting catcher up to last year. Hurt his leg. I believe one of his injuries occurred right here at Shea Stadium.
That's right.
Fly ball left field. George Foster's there. He makes the catch. And that'll do it for the Phils here in the top of the 4th. They fail to score. They leave 2 runners stranded. At the end of 3.5 innings of play, no score. Phillies in the Mets. Well, the Sheraton Corporation and the WNBC Grand Slammers are teaming up to play in the All-Stars fight against leukemia Saturday, August 24th at Shea Stadium. Won't you join us in helping to strike out this dreaded disease? For more information, contact the Leukemia Society at 212-679-1939. Tickets are now on sale at $10 each.
Bottom half of the 4th inning for the Mets.
Speaking of Grand Slammers, here's a guy who can hit a Grand Slam, but not right now because he's leading off in the bottom of the 4th. No score. Strawberry, 6 home runs and 14 RBIs in his last 13 games. He tattooed 3 balls at Wrigley Field in Chicago just over a week ago. Was named Player of the Week in the National League. And he takes strike 1 from Charles Hudson.
Darryl Strawberry has 4 career home runs against Charles Hudson. Talking to Darryl before the game, he said he just sees him so well.
Fouled off, 0-2.
Had 2 in 1 game last year against Charlie. Oh, I said it, Charlie.
You can't be doing that.
Sorry.
It's Charles.
Charles, right.
What did Richie Allen say? Richie, don't call me Dick Allen?
Uh-huh. Or Dick, don't call me Richie.
Was it Dick, don't call me Richie?
Yeah.
I knew it was one of them. No balls and 2 strikes on Darryl Strawberry. Well, Dick Allen could be called anything because he could hit a ball as hard and as far as anybody. Wonder how good he would have been if he could have kept everything in order. There's a ball pulled in the right field. Base hit. So Strawberry continues to hit the ball hard off of Hudson. And Glenn Wilson almost hit Strawberry.
Glenn trying to throw behind Strawberry. And sometimes alert right fielders will do that. Darryl on that high-riding fastball dribbles one. Wilson, remember, leads the major leagues in assists. And whoa, here he comes. Fires right behind the runner right there. And you've got your pitcher usually and your catcher backing up. So that's not a bad play.
So Darryl Strawberry on first base and the batter George Foster with nobody out in the bottom of the 4th. There goes Strawberry, and Foster hit the drive to left field. And Russell in pursuit. It's off the wall. Strawberry will score easily. And Foster cruises into second base with a double. 1-0 Mets.
piece of base running by Darryl Strawberry. Off with a pitch, that hanging slider to Foster. Gives him a chance to extend his arms. Watch John Russell and Von Hayes. Little double dribble in the left center field area, and Strawberry scores easily, even had they come up with it. Strawberry, there's Darryl off of the pitch. Now watch how far he rounds the bag. Even if that ball's caught, he realizes with his speed he can still get back to first base. That gives you an idea how far you can go on balls that are hit on tough plays in the alley.
He can run. And the batter now, Howard Johnson. He lifts the ball in left field. Base hit. Russell plays it in a hop, gets it in. Foster's held at third. As Schmidt cuts the ball off. And Howard Johnson on first base with the 5th Met hit of the night.
Charles Hudson's last 3 pitches have been base hits. George Foster, even though he broke with a pitch, has to be held at third because Russell was playing shallow in left. And especially with no outs, you can't take a chance on sending a runner.
And the Mets are about to explode here in the bottom of the 4th. Runners on the corners, and the batter, Rafael Santana. Santana struck out his first time up. Santana, it's a line drive. Nice play by Mike Schmidt. Good base running by Johnson and Foster.
Boy, you're exactly right, Fran. Especially Howard Johnson. A lot of guys would get doubled off on a ball like this. Look at Johnson's reaction once Schmidt makes this incredible play. Good play by Mike Schmidt with those quick reactions. But as you said, even as good a play, and especially with Howard Johnson, because Foster's going to make the line drive go through anyway, or should. But some guys would have gotten picked off on that ball or thrown behind.
Well, the runners remain on first and third, and this guy's a good-looking hitter, Rick Aguilera. He's
7 for 19.
Well, I'll tell you, he hit a bullet in the left field his first time. Pulled a good fastball from Charles Hudson. He's a good rip. The Mets got some guys that can swing the bat.
Starling, Gooden, Aguilera, Sid Fernandez.
Prior to batting practice, they had bunting practice for the pitchers. And Aguilera takes up high, ball 1. Looked like Charles Hudson wanted to find out if Aguilera could take a rip at that breaking ball. Well, the Phillies need a double play. The Mets have runners on first and third, 1 man down. They have 1 run across here in the bottom of the 4th.
And if you're thinking squeeze, I wouldn't think it with Aguilera up there, but that is a possibility.
He's a good-looking hitter. And a good rip right there, 1-1. Looks like he enjoys swinging that bat.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Lenny Dykstra on deck. And Charles Hudson on the mound. Charles checking everybody out. Third, first. And Aguilera takes ball 2. Some pitchers go to the plate and they just give up. They figure they're not going to hit. They're going to be an out. But the Mets have some guys, Gooden, Darling, Aguilera, as you look at Foster on third and Johnson on first. Here's a fastball down low. Throw to second. Not in time. Howard Johnson with a head-first slide, beating the throw from Darren Dalton.
Well, kind of a dangerous play on Johnson's part. Darren Dalton did not look to third base with Foster, not too good a speed at third, and Johnson sliding in there safe. That's the 5th stolen base of the year for Howard Johnson. And now I would imagine the Phillies will draw the right side of their infield in. Even Foley at short's playing halfway. I think that's a good play.
And 3-1 on Aguilera. Swung and a miss. Good rip. 3-2.
Somwell and Foley now in all the way. think it's a good play because the pitcher's hitting, even though, as you said, Aguilera, better than average hitter.
We'll see if it pays off. 3-2. Shot left field. 1 run will score. Foster scores. Schmidt cuts the ball off. Aguilera's 2 for 2. He can hit.
He sure can. Rick Aguilera is now 8 for 20, batting .400. Couple RBIs. I mean, a rocket to left. It was no cheapie either. And because it was hit so hard, Johnson's got to stop at third.
So George Foster scoring the Mets' second run, and here in the fourth, the Mets are on the board with 2. They have a 2-0 lead. Lenny Dykstra the batter. Runners on first and third, and Dykstra hits the ball up the middle. Nice play by Foley to Samuel to Schmidt. A 6-4-3 double play. And that'll do it for the Mets here in the bottom of the fourth. They scored 2, and after 4, 2-0. Mets.
Well, the double play ball. Watch Juan Samuel in the fourth inning. Bare hand, and then a strong throw to first, and it had to be strong. Boy, that is an awfully close play at first base. Samuel with that bare hand play down there. Had he not bare-handed it, he really doesn't have the time to get the speedy Dykstra. If it goes in his glove, let's see one more shot. Boy, I'll tell you, awfully close at first base. But nonetheless, a good play by Foley and Samuel.
And Foley Samuel turned a big league double play to end the bottom of the fourth, and we go to the top of the fifth with Mac the Knife in the background.
Bobby Darin,
late Bobby Darin, as John Russell leads it off, to be followed by Rick Shue and then Charles Hudson. Through 4, it's 2-0 the Mets.
And in St. Louis, those Buccos failed to score in the top of the first, and the Cardinals did the same in the bottom of the first. So no score. Pirates hitting in the top of the second inning. Joaquin Andujar going for victory number 19 tonight. He's 18-6.
Having a great year, proving Dick Williams right. By the way, Dick Williams having some problems out there in San Diego.
Yeah, he is. Let's see where those Padres are now.
By the way, Jay Horowitz just interrupted me to tell me that Aguilera is now 6 for 9. That Jay's on top of everything.
Crack statistician Jay Horowitz.
Jay looks cracked, doesn't he, at times?
San Diego 7 behind the Dodgers in second place in the National League West.
Yeah, Dick Williams critical of the Padres prior to the strike, and the general manager out there, Jack McKeon, critical of Dick Williams. As John Russell leads it off. Now tell me something, Tim. You played with Greg Luzinski. For some reason, this guy's not heavy like Greg Luzinski, but standing at home plate when that center field camera has, and this guy reminds me a little bit of Luzinski.
Yeah, he does. Got the same type of body, the little short legs, compact, strong.
Just missed the fastball, 1-1. Greg Luzinski now coaching, I believe, a junior high school team. Is it in Cherry Hill, New Jersey?
You got it.
A 1-1 pitch to Russell. Breaking ball down low. 2-1. Greg Luzinski had some fine years in Philadelphia. He did a nice job out there in Chicago. Speaking of Chicago, Larry Bowa announced his retirement today. 3-1. Yeah, announced his retirement. Heard him in an interview when we were in Chicago. He talked about wanting to manage. That should be interesting. 3-1 on John Russell. 3-2.
That was ball 4 right there, and when you're 2 runs down in the middle innings, it used to be a cardinal sin to not take a pitch. 2-0 and 3-1. Game has changed an awful lot, though, in that respect.
How about stealing bases? These guys will steal at any time now. Strike 3. That wasn't a ball. That was right there.
Great action on that fastball. Aguilera coming right at John Russell. Outside part. Yeah, I think stealing bases when you're ahead actually has improved the game, the standards of the game, more than the passive approach that the players took 20 years ago, but not so in hitting, I don't think.
I agree that stealing bases when you're behind has improved the game.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
One out, and the batter now, Rick Shea. He's 0 for 1. He lined to the left fielder, George Foster, in the 3rd inning. We're in the top of the 5th. The Mets have a 2-0 lead. 6 hits for the Mets, 3 for the Phillies. No miscues in this ball game. 0-2 as Shea fouls the ball off.
Say an error is a miscue in baseball, but when you miscue in pool, you don't call it an error, even though it technically is, but you don't refer to it as that.
Yeah, that's right.
Kind of interesting.
It certainly is.
Just thought of that. I thought I'd run that by you.
I like it.
Sorry I brought it up.
And the 0-2 pitch just misses. Carter thought it was a strike. Rick Shea. So the Phillies going for youth, trying to build, although they feel they're competitive with youth. Strike 3. So 2 men up here in the 5th. 2 guys struck out.
5 strikeouts for Rick Aguilera. He has not walked a hitter, and that slider on the outside. Phillies lead the National League in strikeouts. They have struck out as a team over 700 times. And they did it 1,100 times last year to lead the National League. So they got a tough time making contact.
That'll kill you. As you look at Charles Hudson, who grounded back to the pitcher's first time up, so he's 0 for 1. Charles right there swinging through a fastball. 0-1. And the 0-1 pitch. It's now 0-2.
Phillies entered the game tonight having struck out as a team 161 times more than the Mets have.
That's a lot of strikes out. A lot of strikeouts.
Big difference, isn't it?
Swung and missed. Foul tip. So the count stays 0-2. Some of the things that have happened in baseball this year, Houston Astros are hitting more home runs than they've ever hit. They're not having a good year. How about the Atlanta Braves leading the National League with 92 home runs? They were picked as one of the favorites in the Western Division. They're not having a good year. 50 home runs between Bob Horner and Dale Murphy. And Charles Hudson hits a bouncer, and Aguilera makes a nice play. So does Hernandez. Score at 1-3. That'll do it for the Phils here in the top of the 5th. 3 up, 3 down, and at the end of 4.5 on the scoreboard, there it is. Mets 2, Phillies nothing. Well, if you ever wanted to try and throw Mickey Mantle a curve, Sports Channel gives you the chance when Mickey fields baseball questions during Yankee games. Just send your best question to Ask Mickey, P.O. Box 234, Woodbury, New York 11797. And if it's picked, you get a copy of Mickey's book, The Mick. That's Ask Mickey, only on Sports Channel. Mickey Mantle.
The bottom half of the 5th inning.
That's a great big league name.
Second baseman.
And here's a big league ball player, Wally Backman. Backman now batting over 300. He's 1 for 2 in this ball game. He leads it off here in the bottom of the 5th, to be followed by Keith Hernandez and then Gary Carter. Defensively for the Phillies, Schmidt, Samuel, Foley, and Shea in the infield. Russell, Von Hayes, Wilson in the outfield. Dalton behind the plate. And Charles Hudson on the mound. And Wally Backman, it's a fly ball left center field. Tough play, base hit. You're going to watch Backman, a big turn at first, and he hustles back. So Wally Backman picking up his 2nd hit of the ball game.
Well, against a hard thrower like that, Von Hayes really should have been shifted more toward left center. This is Wally Backman's slot. However, Hayes does make a nice play after the ball hits the ground, barehanding the ball to hold Backman to a single, his 2nd of the night. Man, he's been on fire.
Yeah, he's really swinging the bat very well. He told everybody when he was in a slump, give me some time. I'll come out of the slump. I like it.
He was right.
You're going to like that guy. Here's a guy you got to like, Keith Hernandez. Nobody out. Hernandez batting with Backman on first, and Hernandez takes a stride. 2-0. Mets on top of the Phillies.
One run in his last 8 games and 12 over his last 8 games. Every department.
And the ball down low. Nice scoop by Dalton, and Backman picks up a stolen base. Backman breaking on the pitch. Stole the base easily. No throw.
Well, a tough play for Darren Dalton. Backman with a tremendous jump as Charles Hudson with that big leg kick coming home. Not even a play on him. His 21st stolen base of the year.
And a catcher does not have a chance right there.
Nah. No, you really don't. But the SB will go against your record, not the pitchers.
Why not? That's not fair.
No, it's not.
They got to figure out something else. Like the one when the manager says don't throw through. Well, it's apathy on the part of the catcher. You don't have to credit the guy with a stolen base, but 95% of the time they do. Keith Hernandez pulls the ball foul. 1-2.
What's that? When asked the difference between ignorance and apathy, the guy responded, I don't know and I don't care.
Here's a guy that's not apathetic and an intelligent hitter. Keith Hernandez. Well, what a pleasure to watch this guy play baseball. I think the trade helped him. I mean, he was well known as a good player amongst his peers. Throughout the country, they get a good look at him from here in New York as he hits a fly ball to right field, and Glenn Wilson's there. Wilson makes the play. 1 out. Dave Rucker throwing in the Phillies bullpen. Obviously, the Phillies bullpen would be tough if he was throwing in the Mets bullpen.
Or if he were throwing anywhere other than the bullpen.
It's on the parking lot, up in the stands.
Put your sneakers on.
Oh, Gary Carter, the batter. Carter flied to center field and popped to second base. He's 0 for 2. One man down. Mets baseball.
Back in 1965, Fred Shandy's his first year as a manager. And we had 2 guys throwing in the bullpen, a right-hander and a left-hander. And Red called down and said, get another pitcher up. So Bob Uecker asked Bob Buell, the captain of the Milwaukee bullpen, if we could use one of their mounds to warm up a guy. Red wanted to get 3 pitchers up at one time.
Oh, that's a classic.
And the truth.
1-0 at Carter. He fouls the ball back just below us. 1 ball and 1 strike count. Get another pitcher up.
Bob Uecker said, hey, Bewley, you're... And, of course, in Milwaukee, the same bullpen situation. They're right next to each other. And Uecker played with the Milwaukee Braves before, and he said, Bewley, you mind if we use a mound? Red wants 3 pitchers throwing.
Carter takes down low. 2-1. There's some exciting and interesting things that happen in bullpens.
Oh, they really are.
Some of the greatest negotiations with fans for hot dogs.
Oh, yeah. Peanuts.
Yeah, I know guys that would give the last ball away in the bullpen for a good hot dog. 2-1 on Carter. Ball's bounced. Dalton keeps the ball in front of him. 3-1.
John Felsky checking with first base umpire Charlie Williams to see whether Carter swung at that ball.
There's John Felsky to the left in that dugout.
It was really close. This slider in the dirt. Of course, every replay, it looks like he went, but he didn't go on that ball. I think Charlie Williams made the right play, right call.
So 3-1 on Gary Carter. Runner on second base, 1 out. 2-0 Mets on top of the Phillies. Strike 2. Good breaking ball right there. 3-2.
Was a good breaking ball. That 3-1 breaking ball. And Gary Carter locks him. I think it's a good situation after you get the breaking ball over 3-1 or 2-0 to come back with a fastball. Kind of trained that that's good thinking as a catcher.
And all Gary can do is take it.
And you're more inclined to look for the breaking ball if you go into the head of the hitter. If the pitcher gets a 3-1 breaking ball over, the hitter subconsciously or otherwise thinks that he's going to come back with it again. That's why the heater's a good pitch here.
Check of Backman at second base. He's back there easily. You know, we were talking about things happening in the bullpen. My first exposure to the major leagues, I thought everybody was dead serious in the major leagues. I came up, joined the Royals in Chicago. Mo Dabrowski was in the bullpen.
Enough said.
Oh, I'll tell you, he used to send out for chicken across the street during the game. Full count. Ball 4. So the Mets have runners on first and second with only 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th.
How was it, by the way? Was it
Very good.
fried or broiled chicken?
No, it was fried. It was excellent. That changed my outlook on Major League Baseball right away. I figured the bullpen was the place to be. I'd never get hungry.
Picnic, huh?
I couldn't believe it. Could not, but what it did after the game, he took one of the buses to his house. 2 buses. He took. They sent the coaches and the manager to the hotel. He took the bus and the players to his house. And Darryl Strawberry takes his strike. 0-1.
Remember, Strawberry locked in on Charlie Hudson. 4 home runs career against Charlie.
And Strawberry 1 for 1 in his game. He's also scored a run and he's walked. Takes outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Count on Strawberry. The Mets on a roll. Speaking of a roll, the Cardinals in St. Louis with a 1-0 lead. They're in the 3rd inning, top of the 3rd. Pittsburgh batting. Runners on first and second here at Shea Stadium. Inside. 2-1.
If I'm Darryl Strawberry, I'm looking breaking ball right here.
Let's see what he gets. See if he can steal Dalton Sines. Runner on second base. It shouldn't be that easy. He didn't give location. Hey, he pulled a string. That was a straight changeup. Interesting. 2-2. Same effect as a breaking ball.
Yeah,
Good
that's
job,
right.
Stride.
Any off-speed pitch. It was a high breaking ball in the strike zone, but you see how that really reinforces your point. That was off stride for Strawberry. You saw him lunging at the ball.
We were talking about kicking that right foot up in the air before. I was talking to Ralph about that. He feels it's helped Strawberry. Wow. There's that fastball. After the changeup, the fastball looks even faster. Good pitching right there. 2 outs.
Kind of touches on the Gary Carter situation with the 3-1 breaking ball. Then he came back with a heater, and now with the 2-1 changeup, the heater on the black. Good piece of pitching by Hudson. That's what pitching's all about. You can't continue to try to challenge big league hitters. They'll catch up to you after a while.
And you notice on that sequence of pitches that Hudson went right along with the young catcher, Darren Dalton, so he's calling a good ball game. Young pitcher in the big leagues calling a straight changeup and then coming back with that fastball on Strawberry. 2 outs. George Foster, the batter. Fastball misses, ball 1. Mentioned before, the everyday catcher for the Phillies and a guy doing an outstanding job in Philadelphia, Ozzie Virgil. As you look at Davey Johnson. Runners on first and second. 1 ball, no strike count on Foster. And he pops a ball out of play. Another straight change.
And another good pitch by Hudson. And that's the difference in pitching and throwing. When you're young, you come up and you say, well, if I'm going to get beat, I'm going to get beat on what brought me here. Well, what brought you there was pitching against hitters that are not competent. Not that minor leaguers aren't competent. I should say as competent as major league hitters. So you do have to learn how to pitch as opposed to throw.
Plus, you get the good lights up here. There'll be better hitters up here. If Foster fouls the ball back on the screen, 1 and 2. Minor league baseball, they have bad lights, although they've improved somewhat since we've been there. Playing conditions aren't really that good. Up in the major leagues, the hitters have better lights, better equipment, I guess. And you're seeing more good hitters every day. You get more good hitters going to the plate. In minor leagues, you might have 2 or 3 good hitters.
That's right.
Per club. And the 1-2 pitch to Foster. High fly ball, left center field. Russell and Von Hayes in pursuit. Nice play by Von Hayes. Playing in shallow center field. He had to go a long way for that ball. And that'll do it for the Mets. here in the bottom of the 5th. For the Mets, they fail to score. They leave 2 stranded. There's the score, and we'll be back after these messages.
Well, we try to update the National League scoreboard for you nice folks. 4-1, Montreal over Chicago. That's the final. Winning pitcher Joe Hesketh. Reardon, his 30th save. That leads the major leagues. Houston losing to San Francisco 4-2. The winner, Mike Krukow. Mike struck out 12 and also homered. So a big day for Mike Krukow. And the Cardinals, a game behind the Mets, lead the Pirates 1-0. Cardinals batting bottom of the 3rd. Later on, Cincinnati at San Diego and Atlanta at Los Angeles. How about those Dodgers? 18 shutouts they have thrown this year.
They get some great pitching. They're getting some great hitting. And, of course, with Pedro Guerrero swinging that red-hot bat, they're getting that offense they needed. They were doing quite well with just pitching long. Guerrero, by the way, second in the National League in hitting at 331. Willie McGee leading the league, 354. Home runs, Guerrero with 28, 2 behind Murphy, who's the league leader, and Guerrero with 68 RBIs. So they're getting quite a year out of Pedro Guerrero ever since they moved him back to the outfield. And the batter right now for the Phillies, Juan Samuel, top of the order. Then he'll be followed by Tom Foley and then Mike Schmidt. A ball bunted foul. You know, Tim, talking about the Dodgers, was it Niedenfuhr who said that he felt the thing that got the Dodgers going was when they cleared up the Steve Howe problem?
Yeah, I believe I read that.
I'll tell you, though, I don't think that that should have that much of an effect in a ball club. I think if you're playing in the field, that's the most important thing. Speaking of Howe, he picked up his first save as a Twin yesterday.
I think anything can upset a ball club if they're constantly pressured by things other than the playing field. You are a human being, and as a team, you're dealing with human beings, and things like that can upset the apple cart.
Well, I'll tell you, I saw a club here in New York in the mid-'70s win a couple of pennants that they had more turmoil on that than any club.
The Oakland A's, too.
That's right. I remember we went into Oakland one time. Sal Bando had said the manager couldn't manage a meat market. It was in headlines. All the Oakland A's did was go out and win.
He wasn't paid to manage a meat market, though.
I think he bet it was easier to do that than baseball. The manager was Alvin Dark, who was a good manager. He's had a lot of success. Sal probably was unhappy after a ball game. 1-2. Samuel hits a fly ball to right center field. Dykstra going way over and makes the catch. Oh, good little center fielder.
Yes, he is. Always gets that good jump. His jumps to his left and right, I think, are his strong suit. He does come in well, but not quite as well as he goes to his left and right. We mentioned those coast clubs, by the way, after the Mets travel to Pittsburgh this weekend, and then a single game in Montreal next Monday night as one of the games that are being made up by the strike. The coast teams come to town. 3 against San Francisco, 20th, 21st, 22nd. Weekend series against San Diego, and then 2 against those Dodgers, the 26th and 27th. So you can make your plans now.
And Tom Foley, the batter, he's 1 for 2. He singled to right field, and he grounded to second base. 1 ball, no strike count on Foley. And he takes strike 1, 1-1. So the Mets coming into tonight's action 1 game in front of the Cardinals. Foley takes down low, 2-1. The Mets 25 games over 500. It's pretty good baseball.
Man. Second in winning percentage to the Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays 70-42.
Foley fouls the ball out of play, so the count evens up, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mets 67-42 record. Cardinals 66-43. Montreal 6 games back. Chicago Cubs 12 out, 16.5 for the Phillies and the Pirates. They were out of this poor thing in April. They're now 33.5 out. Swung and a miss. Good breaking ball from Rick Aguilera to strike out Tom Foley. Besides 2 hits in his ball game, Aguilera is throwing very well.
Struck out 6 now. Boy, this is a nasty breaking ball. The bottom falls out of that. And that is his most effective breaking ball against left-handed hitters, especially with 2 strikes. It's almost a poor man's slider that Steve Carlton throws to those right-handers he's made a living on all throughout his career.
Poor man's slider, huh?
Yeah.
You caught him.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about a poor man's Steve Carlton slider.
Oh, okay.
What I should have said. He doesn't have a poor... He has a wealthy man's slider.
Yes, he does.
Very wealthy man, as a matter of fact.
Oh, what a career. He can just walk out of the Philadelphia locker room and go to Cooperstown. This guy will probably end up in Cooperstown also. Mike Schmidt. 2 outs, and Schmidt takes ball 1 from Aguilera. 2-0. We're in the top of the 6th inning. The Phillies trailing the Mets. Game 2 of this 4-game set. Game 3 tomorrow night. Game 4 Thursday afternoon. The doctor will be on the mound Thursday afternoon. Swung on and missed. 1-1 on Mike Schmidt.
And tomorrow night, the Wives softball game. Philadelphia Wives and the Met Wives play a softball game beginning at 6 o'clock, and because of that, the gates will open a half hour earlier. The gates open at 5:35 tomorrow night.
Strike 2 on Mike Schmidt. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, it's getting to the point now where when you come up against the Mets pitching staff, you get a problem. They get some good young pitchers.
3rd in the National League with a 3.20 ERA.
And they're babies. The 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. So Aguilera throws the ball by Mike Schmidt.
And a strikeout high of the season for Aguilera. He has 7 now. His previous high, he struck out 6 twice.
And we'll be right back right after these messages. Johnson leading off for the Mets. You're watching all the action exclusively on SportsChannel. I'm Fran Healy along with Tim McCarver and Ralph Kiner, and the batter's Howard Johnson. Charles Hudson on the mound. Howard Johnson in his ball game flied to right and singled to left. Also stole a base. And tries to drag a ball. Strike 1. Another big crowd on hand here at Shea Stadium. And the Mets on a roll. Playing good baseball, getting good pitching. There's the crowd. They're getting good pitching, good hitting, timely pitching.
Mets won 9 in a row earlier in the year. They've won 8 in a row coming into this game.
Ooh, way inside. Well, he tried to bunt the ball, then he came way inside with a fastball.
What do you think? He meant anything by that?
I think there might have been a message. Sure, don't bunt.
Well, Charles Hudson, of course, a good fielding pitcher. Usually pitchers who will throw at hitters after they bunt it or will attempt to bunt are guys who can't field their position real well. Hudson does that very well. Maybe a little purpose pitch.
Thrown at his legs. Of course, the ball could have slipped.
Hudson not noted for that. He is not a head hunter or a leg hunter.
Leg hunter, yeah, leg hunter in that case. 1-1 on Howard Johnson. Ball outside. 2-1. Kind of a quiet crowd tonight. Down low, 3-1.
That's what pitching does to a crowd, unless Dwight Gooden's pitching. I've never seen a pitcher since Sandy Koufax who can excite the crowd like Gooden can.
Yeah, I never got the opportunity to see Koufax, but Gooden is something else. Inside, ball 4. So the Mets have their leadoff man on here in the bottom of the 6th. You know, Tim, here's the scores before I give you that thought.
All right, boy, those Yankees red hot. 3-0 over the White Sox, bottom of the 3rd inning. The Toronto Blue Jays 6 games ahead of New York, 5-2 over Texas in the 3rd, 3-1 Milwaukee over Detroit in the 2nd. California at Seattle later, and Kansas City over Boston 4-3. 4-3 also the score. Baltimore over Cleveland in the 6th, and in the 3rd, 6-0 Minnesota over Oakland.
And the batter, Rafael Santini, struck out and lined to first. He pops the ball up, and a nice play, nice adjustment by Schmidt. He would have had a double play, but Hudson dropped the ball. Good hustle by Howard Johnson.
Well, that's why the runner will take the 2 steps and look. You see it a lot of times on the replay, and Howard Johnson, those head-first slides, that's the problem, one of the problems with it. You saw him, he had peaked, and now he peeks at Mike Schmidt, and Charles Hudson making a nice play going to first base. Charlie Williams called it safe immediately, so even had Hudson held on to the ball, he's going to be safe. And there's Johnson looking, sees where the ball is hit, and now back to first. One of those head-first slides, man.
Twice tonight, Howard Johnson has done very well in running the bases. He was on first base when Rafael Santino lined to Mike Schmidt. He got back, in that case right there, running towards second, turned around and got back.
He is an impressive base runner, I agree.
And Aguilera, who has 2 hits in this ball game, perfect sacrifice bunt. Scored 1-4, and on the bunted ball, Howard Johnson moves to second base.
This is some job with the bat by Rick Aguilera. He's 2 for 2 with an RBI, and now a perfect sacrifice. Hudson to Samuel.
So with 2 men out, the batter will be Lenny Dykstra. Just to get back to your thought, as you look at Larry Anderson and Dave Rucker throwing in the Philly bullpen. Talking about Dwight Gooden exciting the crowd, I think Nolan Ryan, when he would be on his way to throwing a no-hitter, would excite the crowd. I think if he doesn't excite the crowd, it's because he doesn't have the control of a Dwight Gooden. And Lenny Dykstra, it's a shot down the right field line. Howard Johnson will score easily, and Lenny Dykstra's on his way to third. Triple. That'll excite the crowd.
Oh, yeah. Triples are great. I love triples.
Like you're talking about ice cream.
I love them. Rope down the right field line, and for somebody who can run like Dykstra, an easy triple. Could have been standing up at third base, but he belly flops. No play on Lenny at third base. He's there with 2 out. RBI number 16 for Len Dykstra.
And the third run for the Mets. The 8th hit. They have a 3-0 lead. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. Dykstra now on third, and the very tough Wally Backman, the batter. Backman 2 for 3. He takes inside, ball 1. And Wally Backman lobs a ball down the right field line. Base hit. Should be 2. Another RBI. And the Mets lead 4-0.
Boy, I'll tell you, you talk about steaming. This ball club right now is as hot as any club's been in the last decade. That might be an overstatement, but I'll guarantee you, you couldn't prove it by us following this ball club over the last 2 months. A good play by Wilson. RBI number 21 for Wally Backman, and his 14th double of the year, and that's going to be all for Charles Hudson.
I like hyperbole.
'27 RBIs for Wally Backman, I should say. Charles Hudson is out of there. Anybody the Mets have been running up against, they have handled quite well. By the way, they'll be running up against Kevin Gross tomorrow night. Ron Darling pitching. Jerry Kuzman against Dwight Gooden on Thursday. I like hyperbole too.
So an overstatement's all right.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Nobody can check it. You know, the hottest team in the last decade, it can always be proven.
Well, yeah, you say it on a general, from a general standpoint, right?
That's right.
Talking about triples, though, Francis, I must tell you a story that we may have told before, but Stan Isaacs of Newsday sent me an article, an excerpt from the book, The Glory of the Game. I think it was The Glory of the Game, a book about 12 years ago. And the fellow's talking to the little gal, as you see, David Rucker in there, and he told her that he loved her. And she said, "You love me." He said, she said, "You love me quite a bit." He said, "I love you quite a bit." She said, "How much?" He said, "Almost as much as a triple."
That's funny.
Almost as much as a triple. This guy loved triples now, let me tell you.
Yes.
Well, Thursday at 7:30, join Fran Healy's. He takes a look at who's hot and who's not. I imagine you'll be looking at the Mets on your pennant chase. Keep up the pace with the pennant chase. Thursday at 7:30, only on SportsChannel. Check your local listings for dates and times in the New England area.
Yeah, the Mets have been all over the pennant chase in recent weeks. As you look at Dave Rucker. The Mets, go ahead, Tim.
Dave Rucker came over from the St. Louis Cardinals in the Bill Campbell and Ivan De Jesus trade. Dave 1-1 with a 4.43 ERA. His 27th appearance for the Phillies. Is yet to save a game, serving primarily in middle relief. He's walked 24 and struck out 25.
By the way, baseball history will be made at Shea Stadium Saturday, August 24th. See the Sheridan Corporation and the WNBC Grand Slammers. The WNBC Grand Slammers participate in the All-Stars fight against leukemia. So come down to Shea to help these teams strike out leukemia. For more information, call 212-679-1939. And a great cause. Well, Keith Hernandez, who's 0 for 3 in tonight's ball game, will face Dave Rucker with Wally Backman on second base. And a party-like atmosphere here at Shea Stadium. Love those triples. That's a good story.
It was really a cute part of that book. The Glory of Their Time.
Glory of Their Time.
Yeah, not The Glory of the Game. The Glory of Their Times. Quite an excerpt about triples. And then he went on to describe how a triple was hit and how it excited the crowd and everything. I feel like that guy does. I love triples.
There's that score from St. Louis, 2-0. They hit some triples.
Lead the league in triples with 41, as a matter of fact.
Well, McGee leads the league. And Coleman, I believe, is number 2. Yep, McGee 14, Coleman 9, Raines of Montreal 9, Samuel of Philadelphia 9. Outside. 2 balls, 1 strike on Keith Hernandez. Let's see, McGee and Coleman, Raines, Samuel, all play on artificial surface. Made for that extra base hit. Of course, they can scoop, too. Up high. 3 balls and 1 strike on Keith Hernandez. You're watching the game exclusively on SportsChannel. And you're seeing Gary Carter. The Mets and the Phillies playing on natural surface. And a high chopper. Rucker makes the play, tags Hernandez, and that'll do it for the Mets here in the bottom of the 6th. They leave 1 runner stranded. They pick up 2 more runs at the end of 6 innings of play. On the scoreboard, Mets 4, Phillies nothing.
Top of the 7th inning, the Mets again with a 4-0 lead. And last night, when Ralph Kiner came in here, the Mets had a 4-0 lead. Ralph, these guys are playing unbelievable baseball.
They are really playing exceptional ball in the top of the batting order. So exciting with Dykstra and Backman doing their thing.
Hernandez, even though he's 0 for 4 tonight, has just thrilled this crowd. Night after night after night. Speaking of crowds, by the way, the total 32,479 and the paid 31,186. So that will put the Mets at their highest total since 1970. That's how exciting this game has been, right?
1970, the year after the Mets were the world's champions.
I think that was the only year the Mets drew over 2 million, right?
I don't know if it was the only year. I think they did in '64. But that was the year they set their all-time attendance mark of around 2 million, close to 2,800,000.
And Von Hayes steps in there, and he takes a fastball inside from Rick Aguilera. Rick has given up only 3 hits. And he has also established a career high against the Phillies, and that's almost an everyday happening this year.
17 times?
17 times that a pitcher has either gotten his career record in strikeouts, and that's Aguilera's seasonal and career high. But 17 times pitchers have either established a seasonal or career high against the Phillies this year, and that is unbelievable. 3-0 to Von Hayes. There's a strike. 3-1 to Von. Von 1 for 2 on the night. Entered the game batting .275.
You mentioned that trade where Von Hayes came over for 4 players. It's pretty tough to trade 4 players and have a platoon player, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. That's a good point. And he hit it well, and Darryl Strawberry is right there. He didn't even move. 1 out. Yeah, Hayes was not starting last night. Gary Maddox started the game. Of course, he wasn't platoon last year. And .275 is a respectable average.
He had a good year last year.
Yeah.
And he's a good defensive ball player. Good base runner.
Same as Glenn Wilson, who leads the Phillies in RBIs with 73. Glenn struck out twice against Rick Aguilera and takes another strike.
So many managers fall in love with that platoon system.
Especially when it pertains to left-handed hitters who are affected probably more. 1-1. And Gary Carter wanted a foul tip on that ball, talking to home plate umpire Randy Marsh.
Left-hand batters have more problems with left-hand pitchers than right-hand batters have with right-hand pitchers. Here's the previous pitch. Checking the swing, and Carter said it was a foul tip, but Marsh said no.
Breaking ball, grounded to short. Santana on a tough hop throws out Glenn Wilson. 2 out, and now Rick Aguilera has retired the last 10 Phillies to face him.
Catcher, Darren Dalton.
And the batter will be Darren Dalton, the catcher. Darren has popped the second and popped the left. Actually, a fly ball to left as he hit it fairly well. Phillies have had only 1 man to second base on the evening. That was Mike Schmidt in the 4th. Way back, right field. This might be out of here. And it is. First home run of the year for Darren Dalton. And it may very well be his first career home run. 4-1 Mets.
First major league home run. He was up 3 times last year and was 1 for 3 without a home run. So it's his first home run in the major leagues. And he took it downtown off of Rick Aguilera, who has given up only 3 home runs now. Fastball right out over the plate, and Dalton puts it out in the bullpen.
He got all of it, I'll tell you. John Russell, the batter, and he swings and misses. John has flied to right and struck out. So Darren Dalton, his first major league home run, beaming ear to ear. Shaking hands with Gary Maddox. That's got to be a private joke, I would think. He went down to shake Maddox's hand, and Maddox is on that front step of the dugout.
Here's John Russell, who got his first home run as a pinch hitter against Ron Darling.
Yep. 0-2 to Russell. 2 out, nobody on. 4-1 New York. Breaking ball is outside and low. There's Maddox. Gary Lee Maddox. Shane Raleigh. Luis Aguayo. Well, the Pirates have tied the Cardinals 2-2. That game in the bottom of the 4th. Swing and a miss. He got Russell. 8 strikeouts now for Rick Aguilera, but the Phillies are on the board with Darren Daulton's first Major League home run, and the Mets lead 4-1 after 6.5. Folks, if you're planning on taking some time off this fall, why not take a 7-day cruise with some of your favorite Mets aboard the Cunard Countess, a ship of British registry. Mets like Gary Carter, George Foster, and Jesse Orosco are scheduled to be on board the cruise November 9th to the 16th. And the cruise will take you from San Juan to 6 Caribbean islands. Sounds nice, doesn't it? Prices for this 7-day cruise begin at $1,179 and includes airfare to San Juan on Eastern Airlines. Per person, of course, on a double occupancy basis. For more information on the 85 Meet the Mets cruise, call Hartford Holidays at 718-895-7062 or on Long Island, 516-466-0335.
And the Mets and Phillies meet again tomorrow night here at Shea, and then the homestand comes to a close on Thursday afternoon, a senior citizens date. All you senior citizens 65 years of age and older will be admitted to the ballpark for a 75-cent service charge. Game time at 1:35. You'll want to get to the park early tomorrow night because the wives of the Mets and the Phils will play a softball game beginning at 6 o'clock. The two teams met earlier this season at Philadelphia, and the Philly wives won that one. So the Mets wives will be all business tomorrow. They're as hot as the Mets husbands are. That's got to be good news. That's the final 2 games of the homestand. The Mets and Phillies tomorrow night, and a senior citizens day Thursday afternoon, 1:35 starting time.
And a reminder, during the Mets wives softball game tomorrow night, the gates will open at 5:35 to give all you folks a chance to see the lovely wives of the Phillies and the Mets. Gary Carter stepping in there, 4-1 New York. Gary 0 for 2 on the night. He has walked and flied to center deep and popped a second.
And a chance to see the distaff side of baseball. Huh?
That's right. 0-2 to Carter. David Rucker in relief of Charles Hudson.
Rucker started his career in the American League.
Property of the Detroit Tigers originally. Misses with a fastball. 1-2 to Gary Carter.
1984, he was with the Cardinals, was 2-3. Acquired by the Phillies for De Jesus and Bill Campbell.
Slider, foul ball, and barely foul down the third base line. And an important score, 2-2. Pittsburgh at St. Louis. That game in the bottom of the 4th. Both starting pitchers, Don Robinson for the Pirates and Joaquin Andujar for the Cardinals. That's Tom Gorman and Doug Sisk forming. The bullpen really has not gotten a lot of action lately. 24 complete games for the Mets.
Jesse Orosco got into a ball game last night for a save. First time he'd been in 9 games.
2-2 to Carter. Rick Aguilera. Gary stays alive. Mets travel to Pittsburgh after Thursday's game. Actually, they leave Friday. But Friday night, Ed Lynch against Rick Rhoden. Sid Fernandez against Lee Tunnell on Saturday. And Sunday, Rick Aguilera and Don Robinson will be going. 3-2 to Carter. I think Hayes is going to have room, and he does. Boy, Gary has flirted with danger twice tonight, but he's 0 for 3. He's hit 2 balls to deep center. And with 1 out, Darryl Strawberry the batter.
Right here, just a shade behind it, so the ball is hit high in the air rather than driven out over the ballpark fence. And Von Hayes, who's covered more ground out there than a TWA test pilot.
Darryl Strawberry fouls one back. Darryl 1 for 2 with a run scored. He has also walked. Ball hit well to right by Samuel. So Strawberry has his second hit of the night, and he's at first with one out, and that'll bring up George Foster.
Strawberry duplicating his base hit back in the 4th inning when he started a 2-run rally with a single right between the first baseman and second baseman. Samuel making a try for that, unable to get to it, so now Strawberry on at first, and he's a threat to steal.
And it's kind of interesting, Ralph. The Cardinals failed to score in the bottom of the 4th, and it's still 2-2 at St. Louis, and the crowd gave a big cheer, so they're scoreboard watching early. There goes Strawberry, popped up in the infield. Strawberry went for the head fake. Can he get back in time? An overthrow by Samuel, and Strawberry slides in safely. Like he went for the decoy then.
Darryl didn't know where the ball was and was almost to second base when he picked it up. Here it is again. Strawberry with a good jump. Now he sees it, puts on the brakes, and Samuel with a lob toss loses a chance to get the man at first. He sort of nonchalanted the ball over there, and it was a bad throw.
Darryl slid back into first and didn't even reach there. So Howard Johnson will be the batter, batting right-handed against David Rucker. Howard looks like he's been in some trench warfare tonight, doesn't he? Sergeant York. Sure, Sergeant York. Fastball is low. 4-1, New York leads. The Mets with 10 hits, the Phillies with but 4. Johnson fouls one foul over near our third base camera. All right. Kathy, our left field ball girl, snagging that tough liner after it caromed off the fence down there.
Johnson looks like he was at war. Look at that wrist all taped up.
Man. There goes Strawberry, and Johnson fouls another one back, 1-2.
Dirty uniforms. Charlie Samuel, the equipment manager, happy about that.
Let's have, what, 3 uniforms that they wear? Good play by Dalton. Man, 2-2.
When I played at Pittsburgh, we had only 1 uniform. That's a good pickup. Really? Yeah. French Ricky came over there and he says, we're going to change uniforms. Everybody yelled like crazy. He said, Connor, you change with Graziola. Graziola, you change with... Led you right into that, didn't it?
That was great. All right. Davy Johnson, Rusty Staub looking on. Boy, it's been a long time since Rusty Staub has been a pinch hitter.
That's with 8 straight wins. He doesn't bat unless they're behind.
They have won 29 of their last 36 games. Ball hit well. Nice play by Tom Foley. Shuffles it off to Juan Samuel for the 3rd out. No runs, a hit, and 1 left here in the 7th inning. And after 7, 4-1, New York. Well, we talked about Howard Johnson in that war zone. That looks like a grave marker there, doesn't it, Ralph? Man.
Sure does. Scary looking. In the National League, Montreal beat Chicago 4-1. Sanderson on the DL, I believe. He came out of that ball game. So another one on the DL for the Cubs. San Francisco defeated Houston 4-2 in the day game. Krukow, the winner, struck out 12 and also hit a home run. 8-8 for Krukow. Niekro, the loser. Joe, 9-9. Pittsburgh and St. Louis tied up at 2. That's in the bottom half of the 5th inning. And Cincinnati against the Padres later. Atlanta playing the Dodgers later. Dodgers are burying that Western Division.
Padres 7 games back, and Cincinnati Reds 8 back now. Mets trying to extend their 1-game lead over the Cardinals. They lead 4-1 here, and the batter Rick Shea. Top of the 8th inning. Breaking ball is high, 1-0.
Shea missed 3 days when he was hit in the eye by a batted ball in batting practice.
Greg Gross, pinch hitter deluxe for the Phillies, with a pinch hit in last night's game. 2-0 to Rick Shea. There's a strike, 2-1.
Too bad Shea doesn't play with the San Diego Padres, and you could say Shea and Shea together.
Shea and Shea, huh? Larry Anderson warming. He'll be the pitcher in the bottom of the 8th. Base hit left field for Rick Shea. All the Phillies fireworks last night started in the 9th inning. We're in the 8th now, and Rick Shea led it off in the 9th, and he leads off here in the 8th. And the batter's going to be Greg Gross with 93 career pinch hits, but he hasn't done that well this year.
Pitcher Dave Rucker, number 21.
Greg with a pinch hit in last night's ball game.
He's had 5 hits and 36 at-bats this year.
Led the National League in 1982 with 19 pinch hits. He will hit the ball the other way.
Boy, look how deep Dykstra is.
Way too deep. Fastball inside.
I don't think we can find him with a long-range camera. Look at that.
Way, way too deep. Let's see when Greg Gross's last home run was. Fastball for a strike.
He's only hit 1 home run in, I think, the last 7 years.
You are correct, Mr. Kiner. He has not had a home run in his last 6 years, and he only has 6 in the major leagues. And all 6 at Chicago with the wind blowing out. Ten years of play. So you got to have an idea about his power. He hits the ball to left field, and he hits line drives.
Strawberry's also too deep for him.
Way too deep. 1-2 to Gross. There you have an idea about where Darrell is playing.
He is a left field hitter, and Tim has said he'll buy dinner for everyone watching if he hits the ball to right field.
Got to be a fastball, though.
It has to be a fastball. It was a fastball.
Outside, though, 2-2 to Greg Gross from York, Pennsylvania. To left field on the slider. So it's still 2-2 to Gross. Now you're watching all this action. The Mets up 4-1 live from Shea Stadium right here on Sports Channel. There's your line score. I'm Tim McCarver along with Ralph Kiner and Fran Healy. Fran making his daily trek down to the field for a post-game interview. Another one fouled off to the left, so it's still 2-2. Juan Samuel, the on-deck batter. Line drive, base hit, left center field. Even had Dykstra been positioned properly then, that's a base hit in any man's league. So the Phillies have runners at first and second and nobody out, in the batter Juan Samuel. Jesse Orozco warming for the Mets. And here's the trek out to the mound by pitching coach Mel Stottlemyre. So Greg Gross was 4 for 34 coming into this series as a pinch hitter, and he had 1 last night, 1 tonight.
That last one you just saw is a patented Greg Gross hit.
That's right. So the Mets will try to get one out. They will take the double play, but they want that big out. Juan Samuel, tough to double.
And he's got some power. You got to watch him. He has 10 home runs, driven in 49 as a leadoff batter.
And he represents a tying run. Juan 0 for 3 on the night. Four to 1, New York leads. Samuel, the tying run at the plate. Tom Foley, the shortstop, is on deck. Nobody out. We're in the top of the 8th. Slider ripped to right center, and Dykstra can't get it. The runners had to hold up, and Len Dykstra, playing very deep out there, couldn't get to that little flare, but that ball had a lot of hang time. But the Phillies had the bases loaded and nobody out, and that might be all for Rick Aguilera, and it will be.
3 hits in a row with no one out, so Davy Johnson going to the bullpen. Aguilera has given up 1 run on a total of 7 base hits. The runners on base will be his responsibility. He cannot be charged with a loss. He can pick up a victory. It would be his 6th if he gets it. And this is the base hit that knocked him out of the box. Slider, a good pitch. Looped out into center field. Dykstra from that deep center field position takes it on the hop, and the runners had to hold up to make sure it was in there, and then they moved up. So Roscoe inherits a bases loaded situation as Aguilera leaves the ball game.
And the Phillies have just countered by calling for Ozzie Virgil from the bullpen, and he will be in to pinch hit for Tom Foley. So while the pitching change is made, we got a chance to look at the American League scoreboard, right?
And in the American League, the Yankees leading the White Sox 3-0 in the bottom of the 5th inning. Toronto leading Texas 5-2 in the bottom of the 5th. Milwaukee leading Detroit 3-2 in the bottom of the 5th. California and Seattle later on. Kansas City 5, Boston 3 in the bottom of the 7th. Cleveland playing in Baltimore, and the Orioles leading 4-3 in the bottom of the 8th inning. And Minnesota shutting out Oakland 6-0 in the bottom of the 6th inning. And Jesse Orosco, the new pitcher for the Mets.
Jesse 3-4 on the year, a 3.18 ERA, has 12 saves, and in his last 11 appearances, make that last 10 appearances, he's 2-0 with 6 saves. He's got his work cut out for him tonight, however. Bases loaded, nobody out, and the Mets lead by 3. Ozzie Virgil, the pinch hitter for Tom Foley. Virgil batting .286. He has 15 home runs, second on the Phillies to Mike Schmidt. And let's see, Ozzie 3 for 9 with no RBIs as a pinch hitter so far this year. And Mike Schmidt is on deck. So if Orosco can pitch out of this with only allowing 1 or 2 runs, he will have done a fine job.
In last night's ball game, he came in the game to pick up Von Hayes in a fly ball to center field, and then got the last out of the ball game as he got Aguayo to fly out to center field. All that with a time run at first base.
Jesse thereby earning his 12th save of the year, and Larry Anderson is being joined by Don Carmen, the left-hander now. Nobody out, bases loaded, Mets up by 3. Infield and double play depth. Mets looking for a double play. Breaking ball is inside to Ozzie Virgil. Michael Jack Schmidt on deck. Mets trying to beat the Phillies for the 7th time in 12 meetings this year. And Jesse steps off. He doesn't like the sign flashed by Gary Carter, so we'll go through it again. John Felsky and ex-Major League manager Lee Elia looking on. Ball hit well to center field, but playable. Gross tagging at second. Shea at third, and Shea will come in to score. It's now 4-2. Gross moves to third. But at least Jesse Orozco got one out, and that's what the Mets wanted.
The runner at first base, Sam Well, even though the runner at second tagged up, Ray Gross did not tag up at first, and that's a base running mistake. When that runner in front of you tags up, you've got to tag up. But he was being a spectator on the play, as Casey Stengel would have said. No chance to move down in the scoring position, and he represents the tying run.
Samuel with great speed. He has 37 stolen bases, so we'll see if he tries to steal second base. Mike Schmidt 1 for 3 on the night. He has struck out, single to left, and popped in foul territory to Hernandez. Schmidt leads the Phillies with 19 home runs. Von Hayes on deck. One out, runners at the corners. Popped up in the infield. Keith Hernandez. 2 out. Oh, brother, what a big out that was.
Well, here's the pitch. Fastball high and outside, and Schmidt on the first pitch pops it up. No chance to drive in a runner on the infield fly. Of course, there was a runner at third base that could score on an outfield fly, and Schmidt back to the bench. That could be the big out of the day.
Well, a frustrating year for these Phillies. They were picked by many to bounce back and certainly be a contender in the National League East. Von Hayes flied out last night against Orozco as a pinch hitter. So 1 for 3 tonight. We'll see how he fares tonight. Breaking ball gets by Carter. Maybe a play at the plate, but the ball caromed back to him. Samuel does move to second base, but Gross does not advance.
Well, Carter anticipating the runner coming in from third base. And Gross was about halfway there when he sees the ball hit that post and bounce back to Carter. Carter diving for home plate. And Gross here stopping and going back to third. So at least the runner at third did not score, although on the wild pitch, Samuel moved on down to second in scoring position, so you have the tying run at second base now.
That ball must hit some concrete back there to bounce so far back. It's a boarded area behind home plate, and usually that ball does not carom back with that much velocity. It's 1-0 to Von Hayes. Tying run on second base now. 2 out. Swings and misses at a fastball.
Well, here's a good fastball by Orozco. Pitch in a good spot, high and inside. Von Hayes not able to contact it.
Orozco threw Von 5 pitches last night, 4 straight breaking balls. So we'll see. It looked like he was looking for the curveball there, or the slider. Breaking ball fouled off down the left field line, so it's 1-2 to Hayes. I think he's going to throw in the breaking ball, but I'll tell you, I think he'd be locked if he had that same high heater again. Aguilera looking on. What do you think, Ralph? Tough situation, isn't it?
Yeah, I got to go with the curveball low and outside.
Okay.
I mean, Orozco is devastating when he has that good curve.
Fastball got him looking. second. What a job by Jesse Orozco. For the Phillies in the 8th. 1 run, 3 hits. No errors. And 2 left. After 7.5, 4-2 New York.
The Mets try to speed past Pittsburgh, but All-Star catcher Tony Pena will have something to say. The Mets and Pirates, Friday at 7:30, only on SportsChannel.
There's a rather animated young man.
That's Curly.
Yeah.
1985
Curly.
version.
All right.
He got it down, hasn't he?
Well, he's either got it down or he's not playing with a full deck or got too many birds on his antenna, right?
Yeah, the antenna's clogged.
He'll be all right. Couple of weeks. Luis Aguayo. Luis Aguayo, the new shortstop for the Phillies. And on the mound, Larry Anderson, the new right-handed pitcher. Larry 3-3 with a 4.99 ERA, and he has 3 saves. What a job by Jesse Orozco to get out of that bases loaded, nobody out situation.
Mets got a good breaker on the wild pitch that bounced back to Carter to keep that runner from scoring from third, and then Orozco came right back with runners at second and third after the wild pitch and got the big out.
So bottom of the 8th inning, 4-2 ball game. 3 straight singles by the Philadelphia Phillies. Loaded the bases off Rick Aguilera. Orozco came in. He allowed a sacrifice fly to Ozzie Virgil, and then a big pop-up with runners at first and third and 1 out by Mike Schmidt. And then he got Von Hayes on strikes. But he's still got the 9th inning to go through. The Mets will try to pad their lead. They lead by 2, and Rafael Santana, the batter. Fastball, a strike. Santana 0 for 3 on the night. Slider fouled away, 0-2.
He was robbed of a base hit and probably an RBI when Schmidt made a great play, backhanding a line shot.
That was a fine play. That back in the 4th inning. Ground ball up the middle. Aguayo plays a tricky hop and got him. 1 out. And the batter Jesse Orozco, and I'm sure he'll get a big hand.
Here's number 47, next pitcher, Jesse Orozco.
Jesse, as you see, no slouch at the plate. He swings a bat.
1 for 3 so far this year. Doesn't get much of a chance, but he'll give you a good battle there.
Yes, he will. Fastball on the corner, 0-1. One to Orozco. Good fastball. Anderson throwing hard and hitting the spots. Anderson had 33 consecutive scoreless innings last year as a reliever. And Orozco goes down on strikes, and with 2 out, the leadoff hitter, Len Dykstra. Larry Anderson had a tough time with the Mets, however, last year. He was 0-3, a 10.38 ERA. Len Dykstra, another fine night. He walked in the 1st, flied to center, hit into a double play in the 4th, and in the 6th, an RBI triple, and then he scored a run on Wally Backman's 3rd hit of the game. This ball almost hit him.
Well, this fast, well, it's a breaking ball inside, and Dykstra has to do a little curly shuffle himself.
1-0 to Len. And he swings and fouls one back. 1-1 to Dykstra.
Dykstra stands right on top of that plate, and they try to pitch him inside, so he's going to do a few of those whirling dervishes in his career.
Whirling dervishes. Nice going. 1-1 to Lynn Dykstra. 2-1. 4-2. New York leads. The Mets with 7 hits make that 10 hits, and the Phillies with 7. Ground ball. Darren Dalton, or a pinch hitter for Darren, and John Russell, and that's exactly who it's going to be. Gary Maddox out to be pinch hit. The pinch hitter for Darren Dalton. Glenn Wilson 0 for 3 on the night. There's Gary Lee. You and Fran having fun at my expense earlier in the game. Saying I passed Gary Lee Maddox, and you were correct. Fastball is high to Glenn Wilson.
One of the most famous home runs hit that wasn't a home run was Joe Adcock's ball out of the ballpark when Harvey Haddix had that perfect no-hit, no-run game for 12 innings.
Back in 59. 21 to Glenn Wilson. Orozco with 12 saves this year. He had 31 last year and 17 in 83. Good breaking ball fouled away. In fairness to Jesse, Ralph, he has had a little tenderness in that elbow, but he really hasn't had that many save opportunities this year.
Well, the Mets have been playing since July 1st. Get out in front baseball.
24 complete games, second in the National League. Wilson lifts one to right. It's going to be foul. Strawberry giving chase. Well, we'll do it again. Mets lead 4-2.
Wilson's numbers against the Mets are unbelievable. 5 home runs, 18 RBIs.
Of his 13 hits, he has 18 RBIs against New York. He has more than the rest of the Philly lineup combined. 2-2 against New York pitching. 2-2 to Glenn Wilson. Orozco trying to save for Aguilera. 3-2.
Well, you don't want to walk him, even if he hits it out of the ballpark. It's better than walking him.
Boy, that's exactly right. Cannot hit a 2-run homer with nobody on. Wilson is so strong, he just flat-footed and punched that ball and hit a rocket. Still 3-2 to Glenn. Well hit to right. This ball might be fair, and it is. Strawberry over. And he makes the play, but Wilson is on base. Tying run at the plate, and it'll be pinch hitter Gary Maddox pinch hitting for Darren Dalton.
Well, Wilson again gets a big base hit for the Phillies against the Mets. This time it's down the right field line.
Your attention, please.
You got to be strong to keep hitting that ball and to keep it from curving foul. That ball didn't curve.
Well, that's a good point. That ball had no fade whatsoever. All that was a flat-footed top-hand wrist motion, and Wilson hit it about 320 feet to right. Double number 24 for Glenn on the year, and the batter Gary Maddox batting .368 against New York. So a tough cookie. And Maddox fouls it away. Johnson in at third, but Maddox does not drag for a base hit. Rarely will he do that.
And you have to play this situation as though the runner wasn't on base. Just forget about him and set up to worry about the tying run, which is at the plate.
Any base hit to the outfield, they will not even have a play on the guy at the plate. And that's with Glenn Wilson. Jams him with a fastball. Maddox can run. Got him at first. What a play by Santana.
Oh, Ralph, Raphael does it again. This is not an easy play. He has to scoop it. He has just a little bit of time to get it out of his glove and get it over to first base, and a good throw. Santana times his throws, and this time he had to put something on it, and he does. Shuffle that ball a little bit in his hand there as he gets it off to first, and Hernandez with that good stretch play.
The flick of an eyelash. Maddox was out at first, and now the batter, John Russell. On the play, Wilson moves to third, but his run is insignificant. It's get the hitter time here at Shea. One out, the Mets with a 2-run lead. Breaking ball and a beauty. That backdoor slider. Russell is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts on the night. Entered the game batting .228, but he's got some punch. A good cut, but right through it. Philly ball club's got to be concerned about all of the swing and misses that they have. A tough time making contact.
Well, they have a lot of young ball players on their club, and when you're young, you don't have the ability to have the experience to be selected.
Breaking ball, swings and misses. Strike 3. Second strikeout for Orozco, and with 2 out, the batter, Rick Shea.
Well, this thing really breaks off the table. Outside, breaking onto the outside part of the plate. It might not have been a strike, but doesn't make any difference now.
Rick Shea, 1 for 3. Glenn Davis still at third base. 4-2 ball game.
Johnson again playing in. I don't know why.
No way. With 2 out, you play it like 2 out, nobody on. Shea wants an extra base hit. Ground ball to short. That could do it. Good play, Santana. That's it. Jesse Orozco with his 13th save of the year, and he is so animated. Jesse Orozco about as animated as you'll ever find him. All right. Tugging and backslapping time here at Shea. Well, this is how it ended. And we will have it for you shortly. And here it is.
And this is not an easy play. Once again, Santana makes a real good play. Ball out there is on that hop. It takes a downward hop, as you saw just before it got to him, but his glove was low where it should be, and he makes the throw over to first base, and there's Jesse. All right.
Well, I'll tell you, I have never seen Orozco as animated. He really wanted this one, and he got it. Winning pitcher Rick Aguilera, he's now 6-3. Losing pitcher Charles Hudson, he's 5-11. The line score on the game.
Their 1-game lead over the St. Louis Cardinals with a victory, and a fine job by Rick Aguilera, and also a fine job by Jesse Orozco. Rick, the winning pitcher, 6-3. Orozco picks up his 13th save, and Aguilera also had a little bit of a bat in this ball game. He had 2 hits in the game, one of them driving in the second run for the New York Mets. The first came in when George Foster doubled to left field with Strawberry on base.
Earlier in the year, the Minnesota Twins won 10 in a row. The Mets have now won 9 in a row for the second time this year. And they incredibly and remarkably have won 30 of their last 37 ball games, 15 of 17. And I don't think I've seen a team this hot where everything is going their way, certainly in a long, long time, Ralph.
No doubt about it. The top of the batting order coming through once again.
Man.
Dykstra drove in a run, and also Wally Backman followed with an RBI, and those two fellas coming up with a lot of action for the New York Mets. Right now, let's go downstairs to Fran Healy and his special guest.
Okay, thank you very much, Ralph Kiner. My special guest, the winning pitcher in tonight's ball game, Rick Aguilera, number 6, and you're making it look easier in the major leagues than the minor leagues.
Well, I'm not sure if it's any easier. It definitely isn't. I've just been fortunate. I've been getting some good defense behind me. They've been scoring some runs, and I've been able to, hold them down pretty good.
Do you have any doubt in your mind that you could win in the major leagues now with this 6th victory?
I really can't say I had any doubt. I was confident that I was able to pitch here. It was just a matter of getting a chance to play, which I was fortunate to. I got off to a good start, and I've been keeping it going. Hopefully, you can keep it going throughout the rest of the year. And Rick, you obviously like to swing the bat, and you look like a good major league hitter. I don't know about that. I've been lucky. I've got a lot of fastballs, and throw me that breaking ball, I might be in some trouble. But as of right now, I've been getting a lot of fastballs, and I've been putting the bat on the ball. And if they start throwing breaking pitches, I might be in some trouble. Rick, what runs through your mind before a ball game, especially now that the Mets are red hot? I think, for me, knowing that if I go out there and I'm holding our team or the opposing team down to 2, 3, 4 runs, that we're going to score. We're so red hot right now with the bats. Our whole team, everyone seems to be hot right now. I think if we keep it up and our pitching staff holds them down, 2, 3 runs, we're going to keep winning. We're just in a groove right now, and hopefully we can keep it going through the rest of the year. Rick, one last question. Obviously, with this ice on, I'll let you get back inside. You have not always been a pitcher. You were drafted as a hitter, as an infielder, and now you're pitching. What was the major adjustment to becoming a pitcher? I think, it took me a long time, I have to admit. I give a lot of credit to my coach at BYU, my pitching coach there. He taught me the basic fundamentals, and it wasn't until my first year in professional ball where I really became a pitcher, so to speak. I was finally setting up hitters, moving the ball in and out, and that type of thing. But I've been fortunate. I had a good John Cumberland down in minor leagues has helped me tremendously. My last year when I was down in Lynchburg, he really turned me into a good pitcher. Setting hitters up and like I said, changing speeds and that type of thing.
Philadelphia Phillies. Here are some of the video highlights of the ball game. Bottom of the 4th inning. George Foster, the batter. Darryl Strawberry on first base. Strawberry running with a pitch, and Foster doubles into left center field. Strawberry scores easily. Foster ends up at second base. He then moves over to third base as the Mets take the lead by a score of 1-0. And then Rick Aguilera helps his cause as he comes through with a single to left field, scoring Foster from third. And the Mets are leading by a score of 2-0. In the bottom of the 6th inning, it is Len Dykstra at the plate, and Len triples down in the right field corner. Dykstra with his 3-base hit, and he scores Howard Johnson, who had walked and moved to second on the sacrifice. So Dykstra gets in the act with a 3-base hit, and the Mets are leading by a score of 3-0. The next batter is Wally Backman, and Backman doubles into right field, and on the double, Dykstra scores easily from third base, and the Mets are leading the ball game by a score of 3-0. In the top of the 7th inning, Darren Dalton hits this home run to right field. It's his first home run of the year. It's also his first major league home run. And the Philadelphia Phillies are on the scoreboard. It is now the Mets 4 and the Phillies 1. In the top of the 8th inning, Aguilera gets in trouble. Orozco comes in the ball game, and the sacrifice fly to center field scores a run for the Phillies. That makes it a 4-2 ball game in favor of the New York Mets. But after that fly ball to center field, Orozco gets Mike Schmidt to pop up to third, and he also gets Von Hayes on a strikeout. And this is a big pitch in the ball game. Tying run is at second base as the strikeout comes off, and the Mets then hold on to win it, as in the 9th inning, Orozco comes up with the save, and it's a final score as Santana throws out the final batter on a fine play at shortstop. Orozco with the enthusiasm of a child. So that's the story right there, Tim. It was really an outstanding ball game for the New York Mets, and of course they have won their 9th in a row.
And really, I think it's been kind of a shot in the arm to the confidence of Jesse Orozco the last 2 nights. He has picked up saves number 12 and 13, and there for a while he didn't pitch for 9 games before last night's ball game, and there for a while you were beginning to wonder if he'd ever get in the game because the starting pitchers were doing so well.
Starting pitchers with those complete ball games. Orozco had not made an appearance for 9 days until he got in the ball game yesterday, and he picked up that save yesterday. So the Mets have defeated the Phillies 4-3 and 4-2 in the first 2 games of this 4-game series. Tomorrow it'll be Ron Darling on the mound, And going against him will be Kevin Gross, and Gross a good pitcher.
Yes, he is. Good curveball, good fastball.
Of course, Ron Darling a good pitcher. Our next broadcast on Sports Channel will be on Friday night from Pittsburgh. The New York Mets against the Pittsburgh Pirates at 7:30. We hope to see you then. Once again, the final score, the Mets 4 and Philadelphia 2.
And as Ralph said, Friday at 7:30, the Mets are off to Pittsburgh for their duel with Chuck Tanner's Pirates. So don't miss the action as the pennant race heats up. Coming up tonight at 11:30, it's the Canadian Tennis Open from Parc Jarry in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. This is Tim McCarver for Ralph Kiner and Fran Healy saying so long until Friday, and thanks for watching Sports Channel. We've got New York Mets baseball covered. Stay well, everybody.
New York Mets baseball has been brought to you by Busch Beer, the beer with a taste as smooth as its name. By Toyota, who reminds you to buckle up and use child safety seats. It's a good feeling. By Manufacturers Hanover, the financial source worldwide. By the Buick Somerset, see a car that will move you, a price you can deal with. Believe it. By TWA, leading the way, TWA.